they didn't used to do. Right, right. There are three things that matters to everyone. And those three things are, number one, your home NFL team. That'll be the Saints. Picks, what, 16 and 19, I think? Okay. Traditionally, the Saints don't trade backwards. Number two, your local college players. Derek Stingley's supposed to go pick number three. Nobody else from LSU is supposed to go in the first round. Damone Clark got hurt.
Means we're keeping, well, it means two things. We're keeping a lot of talent.
Well, it also means we didn't have a lot of talent. Oh, I know. Yeah. Supposed to be. Nah, he usually gets here at 20 after. Haggai gets here early. Haggai's usually here at 5 minutes to 6. Yeah. It's one of the best around. Love him in pieces. Yeah. Good deal. While you were out last week, Cade stepped in. With the USFL now here and the XFL on its way back, it's time that the NFL start looking at the Premier League and thinking about relegation.
Yes, dude. It is.
It is infuriating going from watching the Premier League as like the base sport to watching teams in the NFL be okay with tanking and not getting any. If anything, they get rewarded.
You
for
would
it.
well. Here's the way you do it, though.
It's so
Your
infuriating.
top
to
two
watch.
teams that would be coming back into the league would get those top two draft picks.
As they should.
Your two teams
It's
leaving the
so-
league do not get rewarded for being awful.
On one hand, it is totally simple, but from a business perspective, it's probably not because the NFL's been running this way for
No, I know.
decades on decades.
I know.
But a relegation system,
No, it'll never happen.
it won't, but freaking should. It so should.
Yep. 606 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, off and running. Brian here with you, Jake producing. Good morning, everybody. Welcome aboard. Welcome in. Welcome to Thursday. Welcome to the countdown to the countdown to the countdown to Garth Brooks. It's getting closer, y'all. Can you feel it? It's right around the corner. Saturday night in Death Valley. As it creeps up on us, I could feel the excitement bubbling. I was asking at this time yesterday, I was asking if we're paying too much attention to it. I was asking if it warrants this much, what's the word? Fanfare. The news stories are popping up everywhere. The repercussions of the concert are popping up everywhere. Go to The Advocate. You'll find a story about parking nightmares on campus because of the concert. Yesterday at WBRZ's website, LSU ramping up security ahead of the record-setting crowd Saturday. It's going to be popping, to be sure. One can only hope it lives up to the hype, but the hype is definitely there. Read the story from The Advocate this morning, though. James Wilkins is the one who wrote it. The headline reads, Garth Brooks parking nightmare, imagine LSU football, baseball, and track meet all on the same day. Okay. The story reads, LSU is accustomed to moving huge crowds onto and off of campus, with Tiger Stadium, the Maravich Assembly Center, and Alex Box Stadium drawing sellout crowds several times a year. Saturday night's Garth Brooks concert will pose a challenge, particularly with everyone staying until the end of the show rather than trickling out in the second half of sporting events. Now, let me pause right there. That kind of puts Tiger fans in a negative light, doesn't it? It kind of makes us feel like Dodgers fans. Like, we're not all... yes, you have a 35-point blowout in Tiger Stadium. Number one, it wasn't going to be full to begin with. And number two, you are going to have people leaving. But Southeastern Conference games... yeah, something that's within 2 touchdowns in the final minutes, a lot of folks are staying. Dan Gaston from LSU, he's LSU's Senior Associate Director of Facility Management, says, imagine having a baseball game, a softball game, and a track meet on the same day as a football game. Now, these things are actually happening. There will be a baseball game and a softball game on campus the same day as the Garth Brooks concert. And I believe there is a track meet as well. However, the baseball game is at 2 p.m. The softball game is at, I want to say, 11 a.m., if I'm not mistaken. I should probably know that. It's going to be right here on Talk 107.3 FM. So your baseball and softball games are not going to matter to the concert. Your level of tailgating for the concert is going to go on away from Tiger Park and away from Alex Box Stadium. There's not going to be that much. It's going to be a little bit Tiger Parkway. And there's going to be a lot going on, say, down by walk-ons, to be sure. But if you've got a 2 o'clock baseball game, leaving Alex Box Stadium might be problematic. I would recommend just taking River Road, get to downtown, and then get where you're going to go from there, rather than trying to fight through it. Or Nicholson and head away from campus, and that's it. Like, don't try to make your way back across to get where you're going. But you got a baseball game probably going to end around, what, 5:30? Jay Johnson, don't visit the mound this weekend. Side note. Let your guys work through it. It'll get the game over faster. Softball's not going to be a thing. 11 a.m. start, probably going to be done by 1, right? So the real question comes in is, how much tailgating is going to be going on pre-Garth Brooks concert? How much tailgating is going to be going on, let's say, by noon on Saturday? And the track meet's a whole other thing. That is going to be problematic because you're like literally across the street. With Alex Box Stadium being a little further down the road, you've got a little more room to run, right? But with everything going on, traffic leading up to the concert, yes, it's going to be problematic. After the concert, I'm not seeing it being as big of a problem as is being made out to be. Yes, everyone leaves a concert at the same time. I get that. And yeah, it's going to be bad. But think about this. If you're tailgating all day long to go see the Garth Brooks, aren't you going to tailgate a little bit afterwards too? Raise your hands. How many folks tailgate after a football game? You tailgate all day long, you go to the game, you tailgate for about an hour or so afterwards, just to let traffic go. Just, hey, you want to beat the traffic? No, we're cool. I'm going to fire the grill back up. We'll sit, when you're tailgating, you sit down and see what West Coast game is on. I'll expect a lot of that to happen as well. But the excitement is definitely here. All right, we had to take a quick break. Coming back, talking sports after this. We got a lot of ground to cover here. Big show today. Patrick Grimion going to be by in about half an hour. We have attorneys Josh Anderson and Amber Lorio coming in to talk about something at 7:15 that I don't know how to tease it succinctly, but it will involve human trafficking in a local Buddhist temple. You're not going to want to miss this. 7:15. 7:35, Crimestoppers, DEA's got their drug take-back program going on this weekend. 8:15, the district attorney's office has someone coming by. Caitlin Babin's going to be by to talk about National Crime Victims' Rights Week. We're going to talk Relay for Life before we get out of here and a whole lot more. Quick break, coming back with sports next. I'm going to let Patty G in. Okay. Budget fantasy.
I'm Insurance Commissioner Jim Donovan. If you are still dealing with an insurance claim for damage caused by Hurricane Ida or the 2020 hurricanes, call us at 800-259-5300. You have the right to file supplemental claims for additional repairs or to repair previously undiscovered damage. Our Ida mediation program can help resolve residential disputes of up to $50,000. Visit us at lbi.la.gov or call 800-259-5300 for hurricane claim issues.
Hello, Discover here to explain our cash back match. Here's how it works. We give you cash back for using your Discover card on the things you were going to buy anyway. Then we match that cash back in the first year. And that's why we call
Hey, look at that.
Now to recap,
Yeah, in high school, you couldn't catch me without a hat.
all the cash back you earned at the end of your first
And I just stopped wearing them one day, and I don't know why.
learn more at discover.com/match. Limitations apply.
Cool. They will definitely.
Louisiana's called sportsman's paradise for a reason. Our state has so much to offer when it comes to hunting property and rural real estate. And First South Farm Credit is here to offer financing for that rural property you're looking for. So when you're looking to purchase or refinance land, do what I did and go with the home team. First South Farm Credit. Find them online at firstsouthland.com.
That shouldn't be. There should never be a 90-second LRN. Somebody screwed up in putting that in.
It paid for me to be the first person in my family to go to school. That education got me to the first date at my dream job, which I can still hold.
Yeah,
That job and the home loan benefits I got from the Army National Guard helped me buy my first house. I also know that I will be one of the first to
Yeah.
respond if my community ever needs me.
how much more is there? Yeah. What's the 30-second spot? Where's PSR? I don't know what that is. Delete. We'll skip traffic for right now. We'll come back with traffic at 25. Renee says you should not wear a hat inside a building. That is correct. That was detention at St. Paul's immediately. Yes. Every building.
Like the olden time. I say old.
The olden times?
Like the 30s, whenever everybody wore those hats. In every movie, you'd see the gentlemen. They would take their hats off, entering restaurant, entering buildings.
Well, a
They
hat.
got under a roof. They
So,
would take their hat off.
I mean, yeah, a hat was actually meant to like keep the sun out of your eyes.
Right.
It was used as function, not fashion.
It was part of fashion.
They became
It went with the
no.
three-piece
They
suit
were
and the pocket watch and the whole big.
okay. But look at Jake right now. That performs no, and I'm not making fun.
yeah.
That performs zero function.
It keeps the hair out of his eyes.
No,
It
no, his
physically
hair's not
does.
long enough. 616, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. So the whole point of the first segment here is if you're not going to Garth Brooks, but you wanted to be going to Garth Brooks, and you're looking at the mass of people that are going to be on campus, and you don't have tickets, some of God's greatest gifts are unanswered prayers. NFL draft starts tonight. Oh, yeah. Saints general manager Mickey Loomis enters this year's NFL draft with a new coach, several needs to address along the offensive line and wide receiver, the two positions everyone's talking about for round one. Earlier this month, the Saints acquired a second first-round pick from the Philadelphia Eagles. Loomis says, this will be cut 16, Jake. Loomis says he liked the value of what he got in comparison to what the team gave up.
It's an opportunity to get, I think, another good player a year ahead of time for a value that we like. We're trying to acquire as many good players as we can, and this is another opportunity. You have free agency, you have trades, and you have the draft.
Picks 16 and 19 tonight in the first round. Loomis says there are definite targets with those picks. However, he added, with the draft, there's no guarantee that things will ever go according to plan.
We wouldn't make a deal if we didn't think we were going to end up, with a good player in that spot. So, but it's not, it's never foolproof.
Now, you do want to grab starters when you're picking in the first round. You're not just filling out roster spots, but that depends on how the round plays out. He says the draft is a constant balancing act to try to find the right player at the right spot.
There's a lot of variables involved, and so I think it does affect you a little bit because, look, we all want, particularly a first-round pick or a second-round pick, we want them to be contributors to the football team, and so you're looking at, hey, what's the floor of a particular player and what's the ceiling, and so there's risk-reward.
Draft starts at 7 o'clock tonight. LSU's Derek Stingley, the only Tiger really projected to go in the first round. He is projected to go pick top 5. A lot of folks are saying number 3 overall. Our sister station, 104.5 ESPN's doing their companion show once again. Matt Moscona and the entire crew are going to be rotating through out at, I believe, Don Juan Cigars tonight. So check them out on YouTube. Meanwhile, the Pelicans, backs against the wall for the Pelicans. Elimination game tonight. Back in the blender. They will be in New Orleans hosting the Phoenix Suns. It is game 6 of their playoff series. Brandon Ingram injured 2 of the fingers on his right hand in the second half. And he basically, scoring-wise, did not perform a whole lot in the fourth quarter last game. He went 0 for 4 from the floor, 1 for 3 from the line. He says he's going to be good to go for tonight's game.
I just got hit on the arm, hit on my hand, but I'll be all right. I got jammed. They're pretty sore right now, but nothing that treatment can't fix and get better by next game.
I mean, it is going to be an all-out festive atmosphere, to say the least. 6:30 p.m. is your tip-off in the blender. You can watch it on TNT. Yeah. You ready for a little hot take, Jake?
I'm ready, man. Looking forward to it.
I like that shirt.
Thank you.
Is that a Brooks Brothers?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never understood their logo.
That's my go-to. The sheep.
But like hanging from something. I don't.
So I can give you some made-up story I pull out of thin air. Or
No.
just look on their website. I have no idea.
I don't care enough to look on their website. I'm a Haspel guy.
Now you got me curious.
No curiosity.
Brooks Brothers. Oh shoot! I have to go to varsity.
Do what?
I'm supposed to go to varsity.
Varsity sports? I need to get over there.
We're supposed to
My wife and I both need new running shoes.
do a segment over there and go through the whole process on Instagram Live. I just haven't made it that way. A sheep suspended in a ribbon has served as a symbol of fine wool since the 15th century, when Philip The good Duke of Burgundy, an area renowned for its woolen fabrics, founded the Order of the Golden Fleece in 1430 as an enduring gift for his wife, Isabella of Portugal.
Yeah, didn't care.
But now you know.
Yeah. Nope.
It's a symbol of fine wool.
You can ask me again tomorrow morning. I will have forgotten all about it.
I'll text you.
There's no need to. I'm asking you not to.
So, but where it does come in handy wearing the hat backwards is on a boat ride, and you're not trying to lose your hat.
Take the hat off. Well, no, hang on. On a boat ride, yes, you're outdoors. You're protecting your head from the sun.
Right.
That's different.
Yeah, useful when you wear a hat backwards. And that's my grandfather. Anytime my grandfather and my dad, anytime we'd be wearing our hat backwards, he'd be like, "Let me just get a saw and cut off the bill. You're not even wearing the hat right."
Hot take, Jake, for this week. Hats should be worn indoors.
No.
Changed my mind. And that's not really what I'm going to be doing, yo.
Let's get some stories.
I cannot get the soreness to leave my legs.
Dude, this morning I went to the gym to do I do HIIT workouts on Thursday.
Yeah.
And couldn't make it through. My legs were just dead from my leg workout on Monday. I was like, what is happening?
All the way on Thursday.
Yeah. Every day, yeah. Like last week I missed, so it's probably been 2 weeks since I've done legs. Of course. All this stuff dates back to so old times. Hats aren't worn indoors as a sign of respect. The tradition of men removing their hats indoors is thought to date back to the practice of medieval knights removing their helmets when entering a building as a signal of friendly intent.
That part I knew.
So we think you're very unfriendly right now, Jake.
Well, what if I'm not trying to be friendly? What if you hit the nail on the head, Pat?
Then that is inhospitable, and you can get the hell out. That's the whole point.
You know what I say to
that? Hey, go retweet my tweet, please.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know why you and Franz both stopped doing that.
No, so I stopped getting notifications on Twitter. I don't get I don't get pop-up notifications anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the issue.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 624 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Patrick Grimion going to be up in just a little bit. We got a lot of business to discuss, and he's got Anthony Renato on the Patty G show this week, which means we're probably going to talk NFTs again before it's all said and done. I know that's kind of Renato's field right there. He knows a thing or two. But before we get into any of that, got to remind you, just a couple days left for the Dreams Come True Radiothon. And got this notification yesterday. It's all about number 9. Dreams Come True Radiothon going on all month long at talk1073.com or all the websites for our Guarantee Media stations. And right now, or for the last few days of the Radiothon, this just came in. Everyone who makes a $9 donation through the Dreams Come True links already on our websites from this morning through 5 p.m. tomorrow will be entered into a drawing to win a Drew Brees, full-sized, autographed Drew Brees football helmet. Michelle Southern on Eagle 98.1 going to go live tomorrow evening, 5 o'clock tomorrow, 5:30 tomorrow, with a screen grab video of every $9 entry and pull a winner from there. So starting right now, or 20 minutes ago, I guess, through 5 o'clock tomorrow, get yourself a $9 donation, of course, number 9, like Drew Brees. $9 donation to Dreams Come True, and you are entered to win an autographed helmet, a Drew Brees autograph helmet. So we're down to the waning hours of the Dreams Come True Radiothon. We've already reached a number of different goals along the way. We've got more that we can do, and the money stays local, y'all. Dreams Come True is a local organization and helps Louisiana children who are downright fighting and battling life-threatening illnesses. All right. A couple weeks ago, we started something new on this show. Wanted to take this segment to spark up a little conversation that's outside of the headlines. We call it Hot Take Jake. Jake, take it away.
So I'm going to put my camera on for those tuning in on YouTube just for the take itself, and then you can get to see Patrick's beautiful face after the fact. But time for the take. Pineapple on pizza. It is over-hated, and most people hate it, haven't even tried it. They just hate it because it's the cool thing to do. It's basically the Nickelback of pizza toppings. Changed my mind.
Pineapple does not belong on pizza. I'm sorry, you're straight up wrong.
I'm not saying it belongs. I'm saying it's overhated. I think people hate on it because it's the popular thing to do.
Okay, that part I'm not going to disagree with, but I will say that it does not belong on pizza. It is a bad combo.
Have you tried it?
Yes, many, many times, from many different places.
Okay.
Because pineapple on pizza, like jambalaya. You know how Condon hates jambalaya?
He does?
And, yeah.
That's such an un-Condon-like thing.
Why? Jambalaya, why is it? He's swimming against the current. That's just, to me, that's a 100% Condon thing. But here's the thing. It's sweet and it's tart. And there's no room for sweet and tart on a pizza.
See, I disagree wholeheartedly.
Ooh, the plot thickens.
Have you ever had grilled pineapple, Brian?
I've had grilled pineapple.
Okay.
Totally different vibe.
Well, how is it totally different vibe?
It's pineapple.
Because it's pineapple on its own.
Okay, so you're telling me you wouldn't have like a Hawaiian pizza like with barbecue sauce as your base, then your mozzarella cheese, then your chicken, your bacon, and pineapple.
How many times have you grilled pineapple?
Lots.
How many times have you added cheese? And be honest.
Grilled pineapple?
Yes.
Never.
Exactly.
But on a pizza,
because it doesn't belong.
It works. On a pizza, it works, Brian.
So I've had it from like the quick. I don't want to say fast food outlets, but your Domino's, your Papa John's, and the like.
I've had it Domino's, Papa
Terrible.
John's, lit pizza. Made it at home. Did home style pizza with pineapple. When we make pizzas at my parents' house, because they have a little brick pizza oven, I will buy a can of pineapples to put on the pizza whenever we make like a buffalo style pizza.
So terrible.
Interesting
It's
with
good.
buffalo.
It's so terrible.
Yeah, so like you drizzle like a little bit of buffalo sauce on top.
That sounds
of it.
good, actually.
I'm telling you, it's
hop
good.
on YouTube. It's Mornings with Brian Haldane. Tell Patrick why he's wrong. It's plain and simple.
You start with barbecue sauce. Then you put your cheese, then you put your chicken, your bacon, and then you put your pineapple. You bake it,
At a
and you take it
certain
out,
point-
and you drizzle buffalo on top.
At a
like that
certain
makes total
point,
sense,
it
though.
ceased
So
to be a
good.
pizza.
Then you're defining what's a pizza, man.
Well, that's true. I am defining what's a pizza.
So what's a pizza, Brian?
What you got to have the red sauce, the marinara sauce.
Why do you have to have red sauce?
Because that's what goes into pizza. That's like throwing, it's like a hamburger steak. A hamburger steak is not a steak, nor is it a hamburger. You're trying to invent something.
I mean, it works pretty well. How many people go and order hamburger steaks? But anyways, okay. So
Look,
in your
I
mind,
love a
you gotta
hamburger
have-
steak. I just hate the terminology.
All right, so in your mind, you got to have red sauce.
Gotta have red sauce.
What else has to be on the Brian pizza?
Dough, sauce, cheese, pepperoni. Add mushrooms if you want.
So
Add
every other pizza that doesn't have that is unqualified.
Well, no. Technically, a margarita pizza is the number one. That's the original. That's what a pizza was a margarita pizza. We've bastardized it a million times over, and I'm not saying that all the combinations aren't bad. I like a good sweep the kitchen floor type of pizza. But, and yeah, you send me over to Lit, and I'm adding a lot more than just that. But we've taken it and made it into something it's wholeheartedly not.
So then if you're adding a whole lot more, then does your pizza stop being a pizza?
Probably. But let's get back to Jake's take.
I feel like when it comes to pineapple on pizza, everyone turns into first-generation Italians, just totally disrespecting their craft. But you can add any other topping, and no one else bats an eye.
All right, 10 seconds left in this segment. I'm going to leave you with this. If pineapple belonged on pizza, someone would put it in their lasagna. Here comes CBS News.
It has nothing to do with anything. What?
It's the same combination of flavors and ingredients.
No.
Yes.
Pasta dough and pizza dough are different dough.
Yeah, I know. No, well,
Yes!
they're flour and eggs.
No!
It's all flour and eggs.
No, there's different stuff that goes into it, Brian.
What? What goes into it? Sprinkle of salt? Hey, come here, kid. Let me learn you something. You might have to cook for 40 guys one day. It's all the...
So then how come you boil pasta but you don't boil a pizza?
It's a good question.
Let's just throw the pizza in a pot of water and cook it. It's not the same.
Okay, then what's the difference between a burrito and a quesadilla? Nothing.
A
It's the same damn ingredients.
lot.
No, it's the same damn ingredients.
So what's the difference between a T-bone and a
Okay,
filet
now
mignon?
let me re-ask it. What's the difference between a burrito and a taco?
It's still a big difference. What's the difference between a T-bone and a filet? And a
Meat,
filet mignon.
cheese, wrapped in a tortilla.
No. A taco's folded in a tortilla. Burrito's wrapped.
And traditionally,
That's the only freaking difference!
Tacos, hard shell taco, burritos, full wrap
Hard shell
tortilla.
tacos.
Hard shell tacos are subpar.
Like, do you put beans in your tacos?
Huh?
You put beans in
Yeah.
your tacos?
Yeah.
Ew.
Oh,
You're weird.
God, yeah. Oh,
In your tacos?
Oh,
in the tacos?
Yes, a little smear of the refried bean.
No,
Yes.
not refried bean, like black beans.
Oh,
That's
I don't-
traditionally
I don't-
found in a burrito.
I don't know. Maybe. I've never put black beans in there. I like the refried bean.
Yeah,
It
refried
adds-
beans.
Yeah, what-
It's
that's
like a.
what- yeah, that's- you get
It's
that
like
at,
a
like-
spread.
Well, yeah, you get that
It's
like
like a
Superior.
spread.
You get a spread of refried beans to make for like your tacos.
All right, let's break this down. Let's find out what everybody's got going on.
Pasta and pizza. No, the only thing that's similar is a pea.
Honestly, anybody tuning in on YouTube right now, give us your culinary hot takes. I want to roast some of y'all right now. I'm in the mood. Glenn Miller.
Pineapple on pizza is punishable by death. To the gallows, says Eric. Eric's
The
not wrong.
gallows.
Pizza is arguably the world's perfect food. Defiling it with pineapple is, I don't even have the words, it's so dumb. Exactly. I tell you what, instead of pineapple, here's what I want you to do. The next time you have a pizza, just sprinkle M&Ms across the top of it, or Skittles.
Some people do. They call it a dessert pizza.
That's not a pizza.
He just calls it a dessert pizza, Brian.
That doesn't make it right.
But who determines what's right?
There's got to be standards. And if there-
Pizza, noun.
Oh, boy.
A dish of Italian origin consisting
bringing
of a
Webster
flat
into
brown
this.
base of dough baked with a topping of tomato sauce and cheese, typically added meat or vegetables. So there's Brian's red sauce.
Mm-hmm. That purist tea. No, but on a real note, I feel like buffalo sauce would hit perfectly with pineapple.
It does.
Just like the tang and like
I'm
that
telling
little
you.
bit of smoke spice.
Like, try it. Try the buffalo, like chicken bacon ranch
Yeah.
with pineapple on top of it, with barbecue sauce as your base. Like, try it. It's so good.
I believe that. Dude, people in high school ruined ranch for me, honestly. Because every Friday was pizza day, and they would come in like these little paper tubs. So you get like 2 or 3 slices in there. And instead of getting like a separate like little cup or whatever, they would just fill the whole thing with ranch. They'd make it a freaking pool, and it disgusted me. And it got to the point where like I don't care for ranch, at least in that capacity. But then if it's on like a burger, if it's on like chicken, or if it's like already on something, it's delicious. But like that visual is edged into the back of my brain, and it disgusts me to this day.
It's a lot of ranch.
It's a lot of ranch.
That's a whole lot of ranch.
Like I will never try pizza with ranch because of that.
Oh, no, I love pizza with ranch.
I believe it's great. I mean, there's a reason people are literally submerging their food in
I mean, I
it.
wouldn't submerge my food in it. but
Some
like-
people are weird.
But like, if I ever do like boneless wings or chicken nuggets, as the purists like to say.
Oh,
a wing has a bone in it.
See what I mean?
A wing has a bone in it. You show me the amorphous blob of a chicken that's just like laying there in the farmyard. No, chickens have bones. You can debone a chicken; it becomes a friggin' nugget.
I love this segment. Starting things off.
And you don't dip wings in ranch. You dip wings in blue cheese. It counters the spice.
So does ranch.
Ranch is overused. Ranch belongs on a salad and a salad only, if that.
No. No.
Oh.
There's so much more room for ranch in your life, Brian.
No, there's not. No. Cutting weight every week. Eric says kind of like Ranch. Okay, the pizza place in Florida, Mississippi has $1,000 bottle if asked for. What? I don't know.
I guess a $1,000 bottle of ranch or something.
Go to babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Now, if I'm being completely honest, there are members of my family who like the pineapple on the pizza. But once you walk into a place like Lit, which I love, I friggin' love Lit. In fact, I think we're going to have Ozzy on Monday.
You should. He's a fun time.
Well, Cinco de Mayo's coming up next week, and he owns Modesto. So, yeah, what I love is the fact that everyone can get what they want, and everyone walks out happy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to worry about, I like pepperoni. I don't like pepperoni. I want the white sauce. I want the roast. Get what you want. Get what you want. We're not breaking the bank. The whole family leaves happy. Lit might be the perfect establishment.
Well, and then
Lit Pizza definitely lives up to its name.
Lit and Izzo's, now they're starting to put them next to each other. So now it's like, I don't want Italian. I want Mexican.
Oh, God, no. No, because if you've got Lit and Izzo's, it's only a matter of time before they converge and become Lizzo's.
Dude, it's happening, Brian. It's happening.
Just don't tell Taylor. 637 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. I have no idea how the conversation, if you're not watching on YouTube, you're missing out. I have no idea how the conversation got from point A to point B right there.
I'd call that a success, if anything.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
Smooth transition. We go from pineapples all the way to Lizzo. Full circle here in the studio this morning, Brian.
Talk 107.3 FM, your news and talk leader. Every Thursday, we talk a little business with Patrick Grimion. He's in now. He's the host of the Patty G Show. Welcome aboard, sir.
It's not going to get any better with the article title.
What? Which one?
The one I sent you.
You sent me a couple.
Yeah.
I'm pulling them up now.
The one about disaster relief in the plumbing industry.
Oh.
The article is how to unclog the issues with plumbing.
So okay, do you want to start with that one or do you want to start with the lawn care app? I talked about the lawn care app on the show last week.
You're steering the show.
All right, let's start with the proposal could unclog shortage of plumbers Louisiana plumbers. It's from the Business Report. Louisiana lawmakers advanced a proposal Tuesday that would give full statewide licensure to plumbers currently restricted to working in a certain parish or local jurisdiction. This is one of the things we've been talking about with everyone from the Pelican Institute to the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. You name it, the overburdensome operational licenses we carry in Louisiana is just stupid. And the plumbing industry is one specifically where why would a plumber have to be restricted to a certain district?
I think it comes down to like housing code and requirements, right? Maybe some different parishes have different rules and regulations. I don't know. I don't know all the rules in every different parish. But I think when it comes to the actual licensing of the plumbers, it is important to maintain the amount of skill level, amount of time it takes to get it. Like, 'cause it's not an easy task to do any of that type of work.
I think any licensing board that is not a life or death situation should be up to the consumer and not really worry about the waste of time that there is. Now, I say life or death situation.
I was supposed to say, have you ever been on a plumbing site?
Huh? Do what?
You ever been on a plumbing job?
Yeah.
Like a rough-in and all that?
Yeah. When you're building on a house, absolutely. Absolutely. But it's up to, if you want to cut corners, if you want to DIY things, should you not be allowed to do that?
I think you are under a certain dollar threshold. They're talking about hiring a plumber from out of parish.
Okay. How are pipes different in East Baton Rouge than they are in West Feliciana?
The water table could be different, so if they're burying a line, maybe the depth of the water line needs to be a certain depth.
And you have to have a completely different license to be able to handle that.
I don't think you do. The board used to.
Right, but that's my point. We have so many boards that are just a matter of the state collecting fees for everything under the sun. That's all it is. It's unbridled bureaucracy, and we have the same thing for florists. You have to be licensed.
We do?
Oh, yes, sir. You have to be licensed to be a florist in Louisiana. You have to have a license to braid hair in Louisiana. Like, literally. It's terrible for small business. And plumbing is one where, yeah, you would have certain things you'd have to know. Code-wise, You have codes you have to live up to. But do you have to have a license to live up to those codes? When you're building something out, you're going to have an inspector is going to inspect it regardless of whether or not you have a license when you build it. It's up to the inspector to pass or fail that inspection.
Right, but I think when you get your license, because it takes time to get it, you got to have, I think it was like 5,000 hours, and you got to have a couple years working for a journeyman plumber as an apprentice. My family owns an industrial plumbing company, and so I've worked in it, and I've been through that, and it is necessary to get those hours to get your knowledge based up, because if not, who knows if you go to do a pressure test if it's going to hold unless you've got that experience and you've done it several times. A licensing gives you that, hey, he's done 5,000 hours worth of work. He knows this stuff, or they know their stuff, you know?
Becoming a plumber in Louisiana is no small task. To obtain a plumber's license, one must first become an apprentice, work under supervision for about 5 years, and pass multiple state exams.
Yeah, my brother just got his master's license.
A journeyman must have at least 5 years or 8,000 hours.
8,000.
8,000 hours. So you're telling me after 3,000 hours of experience, you don't have the experience to get this done? You're telling me after 4 years, you don't have the experience to get this done? Like, the restrictions that they've put on it, and by the way, this becomes big in times of emergency. When you're rebuilding after a hurricane, when Hurricane Laura rolls through Lake Charles or Ida rolls through southeast Louisiana, and it's hard enough to find the contractor, and when those contractors are trying to sub things out and they cannot find people to get the work done because of this level of burdensome licensing, you're stuck in a FEMA trailer for God knows how long.
So I get the hours because sometimes you have to revisit sites because problems come up a year or two down the road. For example, if you're installing a fixture that requires tightening of a fitting, right, and you happen to over-tighten it, that fitting may last a very long time, maybe a year or two.
Mm-hmm.
Once it hits a hard freeze and it goes through that freeze and thaw process, it'll then start snapping and having hairpin cracks and then explode. I've seen that firsthand because I've done that firsthand.
Everything you're telling me, these problems exist in a world where you already have to have 5 years and 8,000 hours.
Okay.
The problems will exist whether or not this exists. You get rid of the licensing, you have the exact same problems in the exact same places.
You do, but you hope that the people who are working to get their license are working under someone who's got years of experience to help push them past some of those easy mistakes to solve.
Do you think if licenses go away that all the level of experience, know-how, it's
you
like get
having a
hired
licensed
based off of your
contractor,
right? Well, so with a licensed contractor, that's the guy who's going to be handling everything that's underneath it. So you have to have someone with a license to work for someone with a license to handle everything that's going through your insurance company anyway.
Well, it's having the licensing and having that continuing education is setting a set of standards to make sure that the profession is continuing to uphold a certain level of service, right? It's just like with anything. Why does anyone need a license?
Yeah, this is where the libertarian in me always comes out.
Like, why should I as a CPA need a license?
It's a good question.
Why do I need a driver's license?
Also a good question.
Why do I need a CDL license if I'm operating a heavy truck?
Yeah, these are all things that are good questions. If you have the know-how, shouldn't you be able to do it?
But
now,
who's to tell you have the know-how? Who's to prove you have the know-how?
I led this off by saying anything that doesn't involve life or death, and I would go with general contractor as well because you can ruin a person's long-term finances over a whole home rebuild.
As a plumber.
That can be rebuilt like a lot easier than a hurricane knocking the house down.
But at whose dollar? At whose expense can a flooded house be rebuilt? If you're not licensed, what reprimand do I have against you if you flood my house?
Oh, incompetence, absolutely. Every Wednesday we have Franz Borghardt on. You could sue anyone for anything. If you did the job and you did the job poorly, there will be repercussions for it.
And if I disappear off the map and you can't trace me back to it,
that's a whole different topic.
If I've got a license, you can easily go to the licensing board and say, "Hey, this person flooded my house. Here are the pictures. I want to reprimand them."
Okay, if you disappear off the map, that's a whole different topic, and that involves fraud. That does not involve. You can disappear while having a license just as easily.
That's very true.
That's fraud. When you and look, we're approaching hurricane season here. We're about a month and 2 days away from the beginning of hurricane season. We repeat this mantra all through hurricane season. After a storm rolls through, if they don't have that 225 in front of their number, send them packing.
But
when you need why?
Yeah.
Because if you go with someone if you go with someone local,
Okay.
you are going to be able to follow them and find them later on.
So if I go with somebody who's got a license, can't I do the same thing?
If you're already local, if you already have a business here, what difference does it make? If some jackleg from Texas rolls in with a 713 area code and flashes it, and you're more likely to not have the follow-up on your work, because once they'll roll through town, they'll do all the work they can, then they'll go back home. Even if they're legit, once they go back home, do you really think you're going to be able to follow up with them after the fact? They can have the proper licensing, or in this case, temporary licensing. They go back home to Houston. They go back home to Dallas, whatever. You're not going to see them again. Oh, we got a break. Hang on. Quick break. Checking your money now. Checking traffic. Coming back. He's Patrick Grimion. We talk business every Thursday.
Oh, they want to know where they can give the $9.
Go to talk1073.com. Here, I'll you know what? Let me post.
Just drop it in the comments.
Yeah, I'm going to post the exact link. Our site's down right now. My apologies. Satan.
That's all those people trying to go make those $9 donations that crashed the site. Good job, everybody. And you can only donate through y'all's website?
In order to register for the... you go straight to Dreams Come True if you want.
Yeah, but the whole point of the $9 is for the jersey.
Helmet.
I'm glad it's a full size. I wouldn't want a half size helmet.
They have the mini helmets? They pump those out, man. All right, there we go. Here. I will forego the donations going through Talk 1073 in order to make sure you get there. Eagle 98.1's website isn't down.
Clinton asks, is there a DJ license?
Jesus, there should be.
But it's not a life or death situation.
That's right. No, there should not be a DJ license. Although, you know what? Yeah, you could do a lot of damage as a DJ. You can ruin a wedding and ruin a marriage. You could ruin a wedding, start a fight at somebody's wedding by just being a piss poor DJ.
You could ruin somebody's life by ruining their house.
That's what I'm saying. So why shouldn't we charge people to be licensed DJs and licensed florists and licensed bakers? And when a kid sets up a lemonade stand on a Saturday morning, he should have a damn license, because you could poison lemonade and kill people.
You could.
Murder is already against the fucking law.
Oh yeah, plumbers do gas lines and fixtures. You can blow up a house. We used to run gas lines. I remember running a gas line for somebody.
All right, I posted the link back to Eagle 98.1's page. From there, it's one more click to get to the Donate Now button. But if you don't go through one of our pages, you won't show up on that registry to get in. So... And yeah, having a license means you've reached a number of benchmarks, and more importantly, written your check to the state. You've kicked up. You've allowed Don Fanucci to get his taste.
Well, it allows to hold the profession to a certain degree of standards. Because if no one's got licensing, no one's controlling the standards required to get that certification.
Except for the business and the business's reputation.
Yeah, but, I mean, is that enough? Why did the licensing board feel like they needed to step in place initially? You think it was purely monetarily driven?
Yeah.
You don't think there was enough accidents happening and people getting upset that there was nobody regulating and governing this?
Why
did we start with
have licenses solved the problem?
To an extent.
No,
I would
because
say
there's no way to quantify it. You can't know where we'd be without the licenses right now.
I think you can take a look at what types of jobs are done by unlicensed professionals and what types of jobs are done by licensed professionals and look at the accident ratio. I don't know. I'm not a statistician.
So you're just making a general assumption.
And what do you mean making a general assumption?
Why do you do your job well?
Because I want to.
Why?
Because if not...
Wait, pause on this. This is where we're going when we come back in, and then we'll hit up the maintenance thing, the lawn thing.
Okay. I know inspectors can do the same thing, but I've seen some inspectors with some inspection reports that are very shoddy.
Then that's on the inspector.
So then everything comes down to
And by the way, whoa, you're telling me a licensed inspector, a licensed home inspector is giving you a shoddy report?
I'm not saying
you're telling me the license that the government gave them or sold them does not solve the problem?
Doesn't make him infallible.
You've got a licensed plumber and a licensed contractor and a licensed inspector and a licensed real estate agent all involved in the same equation. And, oh, my God, nothing got better because of it.
I never said it was perfect. I said it gives a level of experience.
Byron says, don't bring up pineapples with Brian. Makes him testy, apparently. Well...
It's all fueled by the tartness of a pineapple.
.653 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. One more segment to go here with Patrick Gremion, host of the Patty G Show. We got to save a little room on the back end to talk about Anthony Renato on this week's episode of the Patty G Show, which you can find anywhere you get your podcast, and you can hear right here on Talk 107.3 as part of our Saturdays on Demand lineup. If you if you're getting bored with the Garth Brooks concert, just step out, pop it on the app. We're good to go. All right. We were talking about the need for licenses in our last segment and through the break, and I pushed pause on the conversation during the break because I wanted to pick up right here. Why do you do your job well?
Because I like to hold myself to a certain set of standards.
Interesting. If you weren't licensed in your job, would those standards disappear?
Not necessarily.
If you didn't have those standards, would you expect your customer base to continue to come back to you?
If I didn't have those standards?
Yes.
I would understand why they left.
The free market would reign supreme, and you would go out of business. Now, granted, you work for somebody else. But
I tell you this much. When people see that I have a license, it establishes an instant credibility.
This reminds me of the movie Tommy Boy. You remember Tommy Boy?
Brian, you know the answer to that question before you even asked it.
Zelensky Auto Parts, they have the guarantee right on the box, right? Well, let me ask you this. Why would you put a guarantee on a box?
So people know it's guaranteed.
I could take a number 2 in a box, slap a guarantee on it. It makes you feel all warm and fuzzy inside. It's right there on the box, right?
Yeah.
All you're doing is giving people a false sense of security that makes them think that nothing's going to go wrong because it's licensed. You have the exact same recourse as a consumer with the license versus without the license. You have the exact same level of redundancy with the license as you do without the license.
So then how are you able to determine if somebody knows what they know?
Reputation, for one thing.
So now you've got to do a lot more research and calling around and getting.
I would hope you would do that in the first place. If everybody has to have the same license, you're saying that everybody is the same level of craftsmanship. You're saying every artisan out there, but they all have the license, Patrick.
They all have met a minimum requirement to be certified in their field. That doesn't mean they've gone above and beyond every single person. They've met a threshold to obtain that license.
And because they have that license, you can hire the worst in the field who manages to still maintain that license.
You can.
Or you could do a little research on your own and find the best in the field. Regardless of whether they have a license or not, this is going to come back around to it. Hey, there was another story you sent, and we need to get to both of these. Troy says on YouTube, inspector solved the problem. Example, Hard Rock Hotel in New Orleans. Too soon, Troy. Way too soon. You had sent over another link to a story that I had talked about not too long ago, and this is going to revolve around the same thing here. An app has launched in Baton Rouge to help lawn care companies keep up with high demand. So as summer's rolling back in, as we're coming out of the pandemic and more people are back at work and have the kids back in their extracurriculars and life is busy once again, you might be handing off that responsibility of cutting your own grass back to a lawn care company. This app is going to provide a lot of convenience.
It is. It really is. So I did a lawn company when I was 16 to probably 20. Mm-hmm. And the way we got our customers was going door to door. Once we got a yard in a neighborhood, we would go door to door, hand out flyers, say, hey, we're cutting so-and-so's yard. If you want us to grab yours, absolutely, we'd love to.
Amazing. You did all that without a license.
I did, but I couldn't do flower beds because I didn't have a landscaping license.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't charge.
Imagine the havoc you could have wreaked.
I know. Would have been
anyway,
crazy.
I don't need to walk us back down this path again. Continue. The level of convenience of being able to, let's say, just you look at a menu, you find the cheapest and the most readily available, right? What I'm wondering about here is convenience versus loyalty. This is going to be an interesting topic for me because I'm all about perfect example. I use MBG Lawn and Landscape at my house. I love MBG Lawn and Landscape. They have never done me wrong. They are always solid.
They licensed?
I have no clue. I don't know. Do you have to be? Oh, for landscaping, I guess you do. Yeah. I don't care. I see the work they do, and I have a relationship with them. I'm all about the loyalty in this regard.
Right.
Now, like I already know I've contacted them. I'm getting my lawn taken care of today. Boom, done. It is that convenient. It is that easy. For those who are using this app, I'm guessing from the professional's perspective, you want this app to be a once or twice type of thing and develop your own relationship once you get there.
Yeah.
This should be a temporary app, to say the least.
It should be an app where the first-time users are going to get on there, find a lawn care company, and then after that they're going to say, hey, we're going to send you an email reminder, a text reminder that it's time to get your yard cut again, and you just reply Y or N, and we'll come and get you on the schedule. That's how I would use it if I'm owning a lawn care company. I would get that established first-time cut.
This is your introduction.
And then after that, be like, hey, great, thanks so much for using this app. You know, we have a process where you can just text us or we text you.
Something like, so I'm looking at this and thinking of it in terms of like an Airbnb for lawn care, but it's different because in Airbnb, you don't know when you're going back to that city. You don't know what availability there's. Yeah. This is a completely different business model and should be used more as an introductory phase. Hey, we got about 40 seconds left. Anthony Renato's on the show this week. What did y'all talk about?
This week we talked about Cards and Culture, his shop he's got in Perkins Row. We talked about his baseball career, talking about LSU 2009 National Championship team. We also talked about business and getting in an NFT space. He's got a weird little avatar, if you go look on his Twitter handle, that is an NFT. And so we talked a little bit. We didn't get heavy into it. We ended up going way over time. So we're like, look, we'll pick it up on like a second episode or something. But
Anthony's fascinating.
He is an incredible person, super, super nice, very knowledgeable.
I would be completely out on NFTs if it weren't like he keeps me mildly dialed in.
That he does.
And yeah, conversation's always great. He's Patrick Grimion, host of the Patty G Show. Here comes CBS News. So, yeah, if I'm hopping on this app, and I scroll through and I see, oh, look, MBG Lawn and Landscape is available at the time that I need them and they offer a reasonable price, I'm going to get them the first time. But what I'm looking at with this is I don't ever want to use this app more than once.
Especially when it comes to yards. So, for example, when we would cut yards, every yard was a little bit different. Every homeowner wanted their yard cut a little bit different. The grass grew a little bit differently at each person's house. Some people had even different types of grass. And so from there, you had to know going into that yard exactly what needs to be done. That first cut was always the worst because you had to figure everything out, right? You had to talk with the consumer. You had to talk with the property owner, figure out how they wanted their grass cut. And if you're having to do that as a consumer every single time with a new company, I don't want to do that. I don't want to deal with talking to a new company every single time and having them relearn my yard.
Right. It would be like go from cutting grass to cutting hair. It would be like if you had barbers on an app, which honestly, it would be the exact same. That would You go to your barber because you know that your barber knows
They know
your
how
head.
you want your hair.
Right.
It's that everything that has to be done repeatedly. You really want to find that one person and then lock them in until they do you wrong. By all means, like I was going and trying to find a good barber in town, and it took me a couple tries. I found one. The next time I went back to the same location, they weren't there. So then somebody else cut my hair, and it just wasn't right. So then I'm like switching.
Mm-hmm.
But once you get, I'm with you. Once you get somebody who can do it right every time,
I
don't see a reason to change.
That exactly. So there might be a little bit of shopping initially.
You're gonna do your initial shopping. Maybe
Just to find
you get somebody, and
you're auditioning,
and they don't cut it right.
You're auditioning. But I don't see you're cutting your grass. I don't put nearly the emphasis on my lawn that a lot of people in my subdivision do.
Oh, I get it.
As long as it's cut and clean and cut and edged, that's it.
It's got to be cut right.
I like it cut short. So, but
some people do.
I know. They got a guy in the corner whose lawn looks like artificial turf, and it's disgusting. It's so disgusting. It's like, get a life, man. You can't spend your entire day in the yard every day.
Does he spend his? Maybe he's retired, Brian. Maybe it's what he wants to do.
He is retired.
Maybe he enjoys cutting his grass and striping it every single day. Maybe he wants to go and putt on his yard.
Yeah. No, I know. That's great. That's your whole world.
Why are you always on the radio every morning, Brian?
Because it pays me money. You know what? Go right 2 blocks over right there. St. Agnes, they need help rebuilding.
They do.
That's what they need. So I think putting that much emphasis into making your lawn meticulous is a sickness. Obsessive compulsive.
Maybe so.
Is your barber licensed?
Yeah.
You should probably know.
He is.
Yeah. Well, he's got to be.
Exactly.
Right. So, yeah, if you ever have a bad haircut, just realize that the license didn't solve it.
Not saying license makes him infallible, Brian.
That's my point. At the end of the day,
Some people may treat it like it is.
The only thing it does, at the end of the day, the only thing that it does is collect money for the state.
Hey, see y'all. Oh, you going to Mercy Fair, Brian?
Saturday morning, I'll be running around the basketball game, but as we perish Friday night, everyone's going to
I'm Taylor Sharp in the Guarantee Media Traffic Center. Brought to you by Chavez, where you can get up to $160
and then,
for just
Saturday,
eligible Firestone tires. Visit ChavezTire.com to learn more. A little bit of progress is being made in regards to that earlier vehicle fire. The center lane is now open, but the right lane is still blocked. I-10 westbound at
Yep.
Road. Stop traffic all the way back to about Pleasant Lane at the moment.
Okay. Forgot to have my hat on for Patrick. Sorry about that, Patty G. How you like that? I used to hate that at St. Paul's. So always had a hat on, but you walk into the building, you have to have your hat off, like immediately. And you forget sometimes, and boom, you get detention.
It was a private school, right?
Yes.
Yeah, love that private school dress code. So strict.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another chilly start today. Temperatures will climb fast into the low 80s this afternoon. With
Oh, yeah. I should probably lose the hat for that.
tonight temperatures
I'll lose the hat again for that.
breeze. Friday will be warm with temperatures climbing into the mid 80s and overnight temperatures a touch warmer in the mid 60s. Saturday is looking a bit more humid with temperatures in the mid 80s and the straight.
See, Byron says both truths can exist. Licenses are necessary for competence, and governmental agencies like the revenue and push it. It's not a binary topic. Licenses aren't necessary for competence. And I'll give you a perfect example. Concealed carry versus open carry. You have to have a license for concealed carry. You have to have a permit for concealed carry. But I can wave a gun around, open carry in a holster, and have no competence whatsoever. .706 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Thanks again to Patrick Grimion for hopping on board. He's the host of the Patty G Show. So many good comments I need to get caught up on YouTube about the licensing topic. Everything from licenses are necessary for competence, which I disagree with, to so should we only be able to rely on Yelp reviews and Facebook posts to verify professionals? Word of mouth and reputation should go a long way. Absolutely. But when it comes down to it, you're not going to get any more level of confidence out of a piece of paper from the state. It doesn't guarantee the job's going to get done. It only guarantees that they've paid for it. Any Hoosers. We got a lot of ground to cover this hour. Josh Anderson and Amber Lorio are two attorneys who have picked up a new case that we need to talk about. I've got a copy of the lawsuit in my hand right now in the 19th JDC. And this involves the Tambao Temple on Monterey Boulevard and a monk at this temple and, for lack of a better term, potential human trafficking. This is, I have a feeling this is going to be a big story in the very near future. But we're going to talk in our next segment about this. And I'm going to let them, I don't want to step into this and say anything out of turn right now. I'm going to let them spell the whole thing out for us in our next segment. And I just got a text from Josh. They're on their way right now. Cool. But this is one that is... I would be shocked if this doesn't turn into a bigger story in the very near future. Let's just put it that way. That's in our next segment. Also this hour, we've got our Crime Stopper segment. We'll wrap up with the Outside In. Oh, in Crime Stopper segment, Drug Take-Back Day is Saturday. The DEA is going to be by to talk about that. Right now, though, we start off the second hour of the show with top stories and trending. Let's get it.
Now, top stories and trending. 5, 4, 3, 2, I let one go. On Talk 107.3 FM, the most trusted name in news. Brought to you by Complete Collision Center, with locations in Zachary and Baton Rouge. Don't let who you choose to repair your vehicle be your second accident. Choose CompleteCollision.com. I want to know absolutely everything that's happened up to now. Number 5.
New firefighters were training earlier Wednesday, but these firefighters are not new. They're part of a new fast-track program with the Baton Rouge Fire Department. Baton Rouge Fire looking at staffing shortages, just like everybody else. They're light by about 68. Just like many places, the Baton Rouge Fire Department is short-staffed by about 68 firefighters. They're hopeful this new program will get more firefighters to Baton Rouge. The program will allow these firefighters to skip the academy and hit the streets in about 2 weeks. Quote, our rookie school's 6 months long. They have the certifications we're looking for and the job experience. We can put them to work a whole lot quicker than by making them go back through the rookie school, says Assistant Chief of Training Brett Hines. Those 6 months could mean time away from other responsibilities some firefighters might not be able to afford. This fast-track program going to give the firefighters more flexibility and a great opportunity to get more qualified firefighters into Baton Rouge. Yesterday's Rotary Club meeting was fire. The 18th Judicial District DA, Tony Clayton, told members of the Rotary Club yesterday that both sides of the river face a major gang problem. He said, quote, now these 12, 15, 16-year-olds, they got more guns than my cops. Clayton told the Rotary Club yesterday as he showed the crowd a video, which he says is from Plaquemine that has a gang in it. The video was all about just teenagers showing off guns. We didn't have the audio to go with the video. And then Clayton brought out a couple of big guns as well. Brought the weaponry to the meeting to absolutely make a point. He pointed out the firepower on the screen, said there was a problem. Clayton says there are certain entities in our government that are scared to call them gangs for whatever repercussions they think. They label themselves as gangs, says Detective Aubrey St. Angelo from the Iberville Parish Sheriff's Office. They label themselves as gangs. He says all the people that they showed on the video yesterday were under the age of 18, and this coincides with repealing the raise the age law. Clayton says older criminals are using juveniles to help them commit crimes because of the way the current law is set up. You use a juvenile to help commit the crime. That juvenile has, fewer repercussions because they are a juvenile. Now, tell you that story to tell you this story. 2 people were arrested yesterday, including a juvenile, after they led law enforcement on a chase through multiple parishes Wednesday afternoon. The West Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's Office said the chase stemmed from a reported assault on Highway 1 where 28-year-old Robert Baker III allegedly pulled a gun on someone. After that confrontation, a 16-year-old reportedly drove Baker from Port Allen into Baton Rouge while pursued by sheriff's deputies. The chase came to an end sometime around 5 p.m. on Chippewa Street near the I-110 overpass. Both Baker and the teen were taken into custody. Police officers swarmed a high school Wednesday afternoon after a large fight broke out involving both students and parents on campus. Police said the melee erupted at McKinley High around 2:30 p.m. as school was letting out for the day. More than a dozen police vehicles responded to the scene. BRPD said the fight involved a, quote, large group of students and parents. An officer called for assistance when the situation did not de-escalate, prompting the large response, said a BRPD spokesperson. The confrontation reportedly stemmed from an earlier incident involving 2 students during school hours. Police said those students' parents were called to the school and another fight erupted as school let out. A man was briefly detained, but as of the time that this went to print, no arrests had been made. One person was arrested Tuesday after a woman reported he was taking pictures of her underneath the door of a fitting room at a Target. According to the East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's Office, a woman talked to employees back on April 21st after noticing a person putting a camera underneath her dressing room door. The woman said she asked the person, identified as 42-year-old John Lacasio, what they were doing and got no response. Employees pulled surveillance video facing the dressing rooms, said Lacasio stopped by the dressing rooms 4 times, got down on one knee next to the door. Tuesday, Lacasio turned himself into authorities and told deputies he was, quote, trying to take pictures of the floor to see if someone needed help. He was booked for 1 count of video voyeurism. Those are your top stories. Here's a look at what's trending this morning. We cross over to, we cross over state lines into Biloxi, Mississippi. 5 people are dead, including a suspected gunman, after an hours-long crime spree that began with a shooting at a motel in coastal Mississippi. Gunfire first erupted at the Broadway Inn in Biloxi around 9 a.m. Wednesday. These shots sent several people running, and police later determined 3 people were killed in the shooting. 2 hotel employees and a guest were shot. Investigators believe the initial shooting stemmed from an argument over money. WLOX out of Biloxi reports the shooter left the motel, shot someone else during a carjacking in Gulfport about 9 miles away from the original scene. That victim later died in the hospital. After the carjacking, the man then barricaded himself inside a nearby grocery store. After a roughly 4-hour standoff, police said they deployed tear gas and forced entry into the building. The Gulfport Police Department said officers found the suspect dead inside, though they have not released further details about how they died. The suspect has not been identified at this time. Those are your top stories in trending. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back from that break, attorneys Josh Anderson, Amber Lorio, and a member of this, or I don't know if it's member, congregant, I'm not sure the terminology, from a Buddhist temple here on Monterey, join me next.
This is former LSU pitcher Ben McDonald for First South Farm Credit. Louisiana is called Sportsman's Paradise for a reason. Our state has so much to offer when it comes to hunting property and rural real estate. And First South Farm Credit is here to offer financing for that rural property you're looking for. So when you're looking to purchase or refinance land, do what I did and go with the home team. First South Farm Credit. Find them online at firstsouthland.com. Equal housing lender.
How do you choose the right attorney? I give you the answers at murphylawfirm.com. Don't allow insurance companies to take advantage of you. Make the right decision. Don't leave money on the table. Visit murphylawfirm.com or call me, attorney Peyton Murphy, at 928-8800. Main office, Baton Rouge.
Brock is hiring. Grow your career at South Louisiana's leading orthopedic medical facility. Brock is privately owned and growing fast. Join the winning team at Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic as they continue to grow into 2022. Online, it's brortho.com/careers.
Brian Kilmeade.
President Biden punted, said things that were totally inaccurate. General Milley, General McKenzie, Secretary of Defense Austin told him this was going to happen, and it happened worse than anyone thought, and they were prepared to tell us that when we now know phone calls existed, reporting was out there that said the Afghan army was not going to fight.
Ryan Kilmeade, weekday mornings from 10 to 1 on Talk 107.3, the new flavor of talk.
Hey there, it's Lars Larson, host of the Lars Larson Show, your source for honestly provocative talk radio, weeknights 8 to 11 on Talk 107.3, the new flavor of talk.
We are Talk 107.3, the new flavor of talk.
I'm Taylor Sharp in the Gantry Media Traffic Center. Brought to you by Shawbills, where you can get up to $160 with the purchase of 4 eligible Firestone tires. Visit ShawbillsTire.com to learn more. Be advised, drivers, that vehicle fire that had traffic backed up on I-10
Let's get everybody standing. This is going to be a lot of movement.
all lanes of travel are still have stop-and-go traffic to about Essen Lane at this time, but hopefully it'll lighten up soon. Also, earlier I mentioned
See a copy of that? Have a chance to read through it?
A little bit. I'm not like.
It's crazy.
It's written like a lawsuit. So.
Yeah, well, yeah. Wonder why.
And
However, you could take Highland to Burbank, get on it downtown, which would save you about 4 minutes. That's the latest from the Gantry Media Traffic Center, where reports are always brought to you by Shawbill. I'm Taylor Sharp reporting.
Seven 717 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. So I've got a big group of guests in studio right now to, well, for lack of a better term, introduce us to a story that we're probably going to hear a lot more about in the very near future. Josh Anderson, Attorney Josh Anderson, is with us. I'm going to let you introduce everybody and just give you the floor to spell things out.
Thank you so much, Brian. Good morning.
Morning.
Yes, my name is Josh, and pleasure to be here. Thank you again so much. With me is our another co-counsel, Miss Amber Lorio. Amber and I have been practicing law here in Baton Rouge for, I'm not going to date us, but we'll say a while now.
Okay.
And with us, we have a couple of members of the Tambao Temple located here in Baton Rouge. It's, I'm not sure if anybody's familiar with it. It's the local Buddhist temple located here in Baton Rouge. I believe it's off of Monterey. Is that right, ladies? Ladies, I'm going to let you introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Lila. I'm one of the leaders of the youth group at the Tambao Temple.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Victoria. I'm co-leader of Lila for the youth group at Tambao Temple.
Okay.
Welcome,
both of you.
I'm sorry.
And thank you. No, welcome, and thank you for stepping up to tell the story.
Thank you so much. These ladies are very brave being here today, and with everything that's going on in this area with this head abbot, we're very grateful that you two were able to take the time and come down today. Essentially, what has happened and what we have found out through the course of our investigation is the head monk, and I'm going to need your ladies' help pronouncing his name correctly.
Quang Van Ho.
Yeah, we'll call him Mr. Ho for now, which
Okay.
makes life a little bit easier for us. Evidently, Mr. Ho has been the leader of the Tambao Temple for a number of years now, would you say? Yes. And it has come to our attention that part of his mission as the head Buddhist monk is to, of course, further the faith, lead a life of celibacy, and to try and further and better the community.
Okay.
Sounds great.
Yes.
We don't believe that's what's happened. These ladies and a couple of others came to us with quite a large amount of evidence, including photographs, text messages between the head monk and other nuns that are in this temple, in this facility. And it seems there have been some rather inappropriate relations going on between them to the degree that we believe there may have been some, excuse me, there may have been some, for lack of a better word, potential human trafficking issues that we intend to look through and truly discover at the end of the day, to the degree that we have found that at least one of the nuns who was brought over using the temple's money from Vietnam by Mr. Ho later became pregnant, was forced to have an abortion, and then sent back to Vietnam. It's heartbreaking.
Absolutely.
And again, this lawsuit is in its infancy. These ladies today and these members of this temple, they're not looking to get rich. You know, this is not a money play. All they're asking is to get this guy out of here.
Okay.
They don't want him here. I mean, he's not furthering their mission. He's hurting the community. And to be quite honest, I don't believe it's a safe place for children.
We're going to let y'all fill in the blanks in the story in just a minute. I do have a couple of questions first, though. First of all, was it person who was brought over here or people brought over? Is when we're talking human trafficking, normally we think that it's multiple cases. Is this just the one case, or?
Well, we know for sure of at least one that this happened to, and we have reason to believe this is not the only one.
Okay.
We have hard confirmation of one. We believe we have 2 or 3 more instances at minimum.
And they would all be with the same monk or abbot. I apologize. I don't know a whole lot about Buddhism. I'm 45 years old and Catholic, and I barely understand my own my own religion. So
hey, we had to do a deep dive too.
So let's start with that. Is a Buddhist monk required to does he take a vow of celibacy?
I believe so.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's a part of the faith.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hop on up to the mic so that everyone can hear.
All monks and nuns take a vow of celibacy.
Okay, so
part of it.
when you are at this temple, you are under the understanding that this monk is celibate.
Yes.
Okay, that's a big point. Number 2, the age of the people involved. You said that you don't believe this is a safe environment for children. The age of the women involved, are they all of legal age?
As far as we know, the original nun was, yes. Okay. We don't have enough information to really make a determination on the others yet. Mm-hmm. We expect that information to come out hopefully very soon, and we will be able to tell you one way or the other. But as of now, we do know legal age has been established.
Did she come to America of her own volition, or was this kind of an understood deal ahead of time that there would be this relationship upon arrival?
I don't want to speak on behalf of the nun. She was sent back to Vietnam shortly after the abortion, and as far as we know, she's still there. To the best of my understanding, she was recruited by Mr. Ho under the assumption that she was just going to be here as a normal nun to further the faith. That didn't happen.
Right. Let's bring y'all into the discussion a lot more. How did y'all first come about this? How did y'all first learn about this situation?
I personally came about it just by word of just talk around town. I heard about it probably a year, maybe even more ago.
I heard about it a little later. I heard about it around the beginning of this year through my mom.
Okay. And what was that experience like in learning about it? Is there a level of disbelief? Because this is a house of worship we're talking about, and speaking through my own religious experience, when you're there, you have a level of safety implied. You have a level of comfort and a level of belief that goes along with that. What's the reaction when you first learn about the situation?
Yes, I would agree with everything you just said, and even more. I think the first thing I thought was just shock, and I couldn't even believe it. This is a place that I love, a person that I trusted wholeheartedly, especially in a space where I want to be comfortable in. But it was just nerve-wracking to hear. And
it was also extremely shocking for me. I always thought of Dambao Temple as my second home. I go there almost every Sunday ever since I was little. I've known that place for most of my life, and to find out something like this happened was absolutely heartbreaking.
Did either of y'all have a personal relationship with this nun who's been sent back?
No, not with this nun, no.
Okay.
I didn't have a personal relationship with her, but my mom taught her how to drive when she was still here, but she wasn't really open about it. She wanted to keep it private, but that's pretty much all I know.
What's the level of overall interaction with this nun in particular, but overall, I hate using Catholic terms for y'all's really, but as a parishioner, what would be the interaction with clergy?
With this specific nun, I didn't have much interactions with, but with the other monks and nuns, we see them in passing. We talk to them a lot. We have a lot of interactions with them. They're basically our teachers.
Mm-hmm. So I asked that question because I'm asking, would it be normal to not have a relationship with this person, or did it appear, even in hindsight, like they were kept aside, as if you're in a relationship, if you are developing friendships, you're going to start talking?
I wouldn't say it's normal for them to be kept aside, because most of the time we interact a lot with our monks and nuns, not only through passing, but a lot of the times, a lot of the members of the community help cook every Sunday together with all the nuns. So most of the time, we're usually surrounded by them.
So this situation definitely appeared different. Even in hindsight, even looking back on it, you could start to put the pieces together.
Yes.
Josh, what are our next steps?
Excuse me. Well, we have filed for a temporary restraining order for this monk. We just got word yesterday that the judge did sign this temporary restraining order, and a hearing has been set on this matter for about mid-May, I believe, in order to possibly establish a permanent restraining order against this monk. You know, it should be worth noting that in the Buddhist religion, and ladies, y'all correct me if I'm mistaken here, because again, I did a deep dive on Google and Wikipedia to make sure I was up to par to speak about this. But in this religion, monks and nuns, not only are they celibate, but they're not even supposed to have physical contact with each other. You can't touch one on the shoulder. And even when a monk and a nun are in the same room together, there's supposed to be a third party involved to make sure, hey, nothing funny here is going on. Again, we just didn't happen. Not only that, we have information from several eyewitnesses that say not only did that not happen, but they saw multiple counts of inappropriateness between the monk and nuns.
How does this play out amongst the congregation, amongst those that attend the temple? What has been the talk behind the scenes?
There's been a lot of talk and a lot of division, actually, at the temple. There's people that would like to turn a blind eye and still support him no matter what with blind loyalty, and then there's people that just truly want what's best for the temple, which is just for him to leave. Especially with the youth group, me and Victoria, we're both leaders of young girls, and if we are uncomfortable just by him, then I can't even imagine, and I don't want to imagine what the other younger women and younger girls feel like too.
What's the process with that youth group of talking this out, of bringing someone forward that might have a story of their own to tell?
Well, right now, we try to keep it as separate as possible from the youth group since the very beginning, because we didn't really want that much involvement with all the drama, because the youth group is a part of Temple, but it's also its own separate entity as well. We haven't really talked to the youth as much about it yet, because it can cause a lot of trouble with parents, because some of their parents are supporters, some parents are not. It can get really messy.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. I didn't even think about that end of it with you know, if the kid's stuck in the middle and the parents are on the side of this monk, and that's how things change very, very quickly. So I'm looking at the petitions here. What percentage of the congregation, and again, I don't know if those are the terms y'all use, but what percentage of the congregation have signed off on this?
Well, the number is growing, hopefully every day, and I imagine we might have some more signatures after everything kind of hits the fan, as it were. Right now, I'm not super comfortable giving a percentage just because we're not 100% sure, because as I told you yesterday, it's kind of more people are hopping on board this train. Mm-hmm. It started off slow. It's gaining momentum. I think now we have well over 25 members of this organization that have jumped on board.
Yeah, there are definitely,
and I expect more.
A few dozen signatures, to say the least. Easily more than 2 dozen, to say the least. I got to ask this question, and I apologize for being so blunt with it. Did this guy break any laws, or is this only something within the church?
Well, that's what we're looking to find out. We definitely know he violated the tenets of what their religion is. We definitely know of some inappropriateness between members of the congregation or temple. Again, I go back and forth with the words too. Beyond that, that was one of the purposes of this suit, is to find out a little bit more in detail as to exactly what this guy did, so we can continue to pursue him further should we need to.
On its surface right now, with what you already know, do you feel that a law has been broken? Not with the potential of other victims, but with what's already established?
With what's been established, it's a hard thing to say. You know, thank God we live in a country where everyone's innocent until you're proven guilty, but sure. I can say the evidence that we have here doesn't look too good for him.
As far as practicing your faith is concerned, you lose this monk. Is there a ready pool to fill his spot? Is that will anybody lose out on religious services or the everyday practice of Buddhism at this temple if he goes away?
Like I said before, the temple is a community, and we are basically self-sustaining without him. He essentially acted as the head or just the face of the temple, really. But we do, again, we can sponsor, we have other monks and nuns that come into the temple that can stay and, just do what he does. But just right now, he just acts as the face of everything.
What have been the repercussions of speaking out thus far?
A really big divide in the community, unfortunately. Again, just a lot of people just want to turn their eye away from this, but we want to stick up for what's right.
And that's a good segue, because I did want to mention we have had other members approach us who are not present today that have attempted to have a face-to-face with this gentleman, and they were told in no uncertain terms, if you try to go against me, I'm not only going to remove you from the temple, but it's your duty as a Buddhist to give me a substantial portion of your income, and it's kind of crazy what this guy's trying to pull.
I'm having trouble avoiding the cynicism that thinks this is not going to get really, really nasty, really, really fast. As far as the rest of the investigation goes, are y'all looking at a specific timeline? Are there deadlines here to make sure you can, keep everything in order?
Well, this suit was filed earlier this week, and we were fortunate enough to have the judge go ahead and sign that temporary restraining order. That puts more or less a stop on all of his activities, at least financially, because this gentleman does have full financial control over all of the temple's funds. Basically, he's their CEO. It's the easiest way to kind of relate it. But this restraining order basically stops him from being able to empty the temple's coffers and make a run for it. There's a hearing, like I said, in mid-May, and we plan on gathering enough information at that point to make this, hopefully make this restraining order a permanent one.
We're in it now. Mid-May, let's get you back in here to continue to tell a story. Josh, I told you on the phone yesterday, this segment was not going to be long enough. We can go another 20 minutes and it still wouldn't be long enough.
Oh, easily.
Yeah, I thank you all for coming in today. Thank you for stepping forward and telling your story. I know it's not an easy story to tell, especially when you have to go back to your house of worship and look across the aisle. That's just, it's never going to be easy. In the meanwhile, thank you all so much for coming in today. We are just straight up out of time. Mid-May, we'll get you back on. We will continue to advance this as it moves forward. Thank you all so much for coming in. Quick break, coming back. Crimestoppers is next.
Thank you, Brian.
No, thank you all. Yeah,
Good
we
job.
Y'all
did
great.
Good job. Really good job.
So,
Appreciate it, man.
No, I appreciate you putting this in front of me because there's no. Kill the mics, please.
Around the outside of his home when the squirrel came from the direction of Also, we do have reports of a new accident on Jefferson Highway at Brandon Drive. It is in the roadway, so you could experience some delays in that area. And there's a traffic crash with injuries, Airline Highway at Piku, so use extra caution when you're passing through that area. As we take a look at some drive times this morning, it's currently a little over 20 minutes, Cuban Road to the 1012 split, and right at 30 minutes, I-10 westbound from Highland Road to the Mississippi River Bridge. That's the latest from the Yankee Media Traffic Center, where reports are always brought to you by Shopper. I'm Taylor Sharp reporting.
Previous hailstorms have caused hidden damage to countless Baton Rouge homes. Lyson Roofing spots the damage, makes the claim, and replaces your roof. You pay only your insurance deductible. Never anything more. Call Lyson Roofing today and schedule your free inspection. 330-3513. LysonRoofing.com.
How do you choose the right attorney? I give you the answers at MurphyLawFirm.com. Don't allow insurance companies to take advantage of you. Make the right decision. Don't leave money on the table. Visit MurphyLawFirm.com or call me, Attorney Peyton Murphy, at 928-8800. Main office, Baton Rouge.
May is Military Appreciation Month, and Talk 107.3 wants to honor local military veterans and those that are still serving throughout the month. Let us know who you would like us to recognize at Talk1073.com. To the men and women who sacrificed so much for us, Talk 107.3 thanks you.
I'm Attorney Robert Lucky. If you've been in a wreck or have suffered any personal injury, call 8669-LUCKY-1 today.
Paid non-client announcer. Responsible attorneys Robert Lucky and Michael T. Malinowski Jr. Primary office in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. File number 2213182.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/trial. That's ZipRecruiter.com/trial.
This week on RVER, sponsored by Progressive Insurance. I'm sorry, I can't operate on that vehicle.
But doctor, you took an oath.
That RV, it's my son's RV.
Oh, doctor, isn't there anything you can
I'm not a miracle worker, Sheila. I'm an RV surgeon, trained to save the lives of large injured recreational vehicles, which is definitely a real profession.
When your RV really needs saving, Progressive has you covered. See if you could save with the leader in RV insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates, covered subject to policy terms.
Storm damage? Call Premier South Roofing at 225-757-6621.
Tackling the top stories of the day. Brian Kilmeade, weekday mornings from 10 to 1 on Talk 107.3, the new flavor of talk.
Another chilly start today. Temperatures will climb fast into the low 80s this afternoon with sunny skies and comfortable humidity. Tonight temperatures will fall to near 60 degrees. Friday will be warm with temperatures climbing into the mid-80s and overnight temperatures a touch warmer in the mid-60s. Saturday is looking a bit more humid with temperatures in the mid-80s and a stray shower possible in the afternoon. A few showers will be
Hey, yeah, did you get that call?
Byron says we need Franz here, but the little I know about civil lawsuits is a tort is required to advance it. Sounds like the aggrieved parties aren't part of it. Yeah, when the victim's back in Vietnam, it makes it very difficult. I'll be shocked if this doesn't end up with more victims.
All it takes is a phone and an open mind.
Yes. Yeah, you're sending good on our end. You ready for us?
It's Crimestoppers on Talk 107.3 FM.
740 at Talk 107.3 FM. Time for Crime Stoppers. Time to welcome in Lieutenant Don Coppola. And we're going to have a guest on the phone here in just a minute as well.
Dr. Leslie Faulkner.
Yes. We're going to Dr. Leslie Faulkner. I tell you what, Don, let's start with Dr. Faulkner, and then we'll bring you in on the back end of that. Dr. Faulkner, good morning. Welcome to Talk 107.3. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
No, glad to have you on this morning. Big day Saturday with a drug take-back program. Give us the details. What should folks be ready for?
You should be ready to bring me all of their unused, expired, and unwanted drugs. We'll be at over 4,000 locations nationwide. So we're out there from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
I assume this is locally at the BRPD headquarters on the corner of Airline and Goodwood.
Yes, that's one of the many sites. But anyone who's within a 100-mile range can also go online and look at our location finder. If they go to www.deatakeback.com and put in their zip code or either their address, and it will locate a location near them where they can do just the same if they can't get the airline highway.
What kind of drugs are y'all looking for here? I assume this is a continued front in the battle against the opioid epidemic, but it isn't relegated to just that, is it?
No, it's not. We actually take any medication that you have other than the illicit drugs. Any type of syringes or sharps, we won't be accepting that, but we're taking vaping devices, we're taking grandmother's medications, anyone's medications that have not been used. They're just sitting around for misuse. That's what we're trying to avoid. Having those drugs seated or placed in medicine cabinets and different places where people can go and have easy access to them, we're trying to eliminate that.
Dr. Faulkner, got to ask what the recent results have been the last few times y'all have done the drug take-back days. How much is taken out of, well, I don't want to say off the streets, but out of homes?
So if I had to tell you, I'm just going to tell you I don't have that number for you, and that's a shame on my part. But I think what my point is that I really want to push back is that because we leave those drugs in the homes, the overdose deaths are up. Up 16% since last year. And we're talking about 290 lives a day.
Yes.
And so in SAMHSA, that's one of our sources, cites that a majority of people who misuse a prescription medication got it from a family member or friend. So we know that that's a clear and ever-present health issue for us. So we're going to be out here doing this for a very long time because we have to reduce those numbers. It has to be done.
Overdose deaths up by 16%. This is coming off of a record-breaking year, which, by the way, came off of a record-breaking year. It just seems to worsen every single time out. And, yeah, you mentioned a lot of this does start with anything as simple as grandma's medicine cabinet, and even if it doesn't end there, that is the beginning of the path to addiction, if not the end of it right there. It starts there. That's where folks end up on the path.
Yes, it's access. That's free and access because when you think about it, think about your own homes. Mm-hmm. Your medicine cabinet is the last place you think anyone would look.
Right.
But sometimes when people have issues or concerns, that's one of the first places they look. I need to use your restroom. Oh, sure, right there. Okay, they go in and it's there. Or our children who are looking for something that they may think is safe, and they figure, grandma uses it, and she's okay. I can use it as well. So those are just some of the minute examples that we can utilize, but access is one of the biggest concerns we have.
And that's where it gets so much deeper than just the opioids. That's where you end up with pills that are prescribed for a certain condition can have adverse reactions if you don't have that condition or possibly have a different condition.
Definitely correct. And the fact that some of the medications we didn't know back in the day that were addictive, we know now that they are. Yeah. And so we're working with medical personnel and all of those people to reduce their prescription measures, and they are doing so. That's not the issue at this particular point. We just have so much out there. So this is one of the measures in which you can bring your medications in, or they can safely dispose of them at home by utilizing some of the methods that are on our website to rid themselves of those drugs if they aren't able to come out.
When folks do come out, what's the process like? How quick and easy is this?
Drive-by in a lot of locations. Last year we did a lot of drive-by sites where you just drive up, drop your medications off, and drive away. Nothing that they have to do, no signatures, no judgment. we don't even look in the bags. We just accept them and go on. There's no one counting and looking in and saying, oh, well, you're giving us. No, we thank you for supporting the initiative, and we hope to see them again.
Give us the times and the website one more time before we get you out of here.
Saturday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and that website is www.deatakeback.com.
DEATakeback.com this Saturday at the Baton Rouge Police Headquarters on Airline and a number of other locations. Check out the website if that one isn't close to you. Dr. Faulkner, appreciate you hopping on board today.
Thank you for having me again.
Absolutely. Greatly appreciate it. Joined in studio now by Lieutenant Don Coppola. Don, so this has been, especially in Baton Rouge, I know she's looking at a much larger scope, but especially in Baton Rouge, we've seen resounding success from these events, but at the same time, we're also seeing the overdose numbers as well. How do we adapt the message, change the message to get a turn in that tide?
Doing what we're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
We're putting it out. We are making people aware,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the first step with this. And this event has been fantastic. Baton Rouge Police Headquarters, 9000 Airline Highway, is one of the many drop-off locations for this take back, and it's in the spring and in the fall. Because of COVID in the past, it's been strictly a drive-through drop-off, 100% anonymous. This year, it's going to be more because of COVID being lifted. You're going to have vendors from Blue Cross Blue Shield. You're going to have Our Lady of the Lake, other vendors out there giving information to individuals. You're going to have AirMed, some other really neat stuff out there. So we invite people, and if you have to drop and go, perfect. But if not, stay, park, get information, meet some new people, see some things out there that you may not have seen before. Again, it's 100% anonymous. If you cannot make it this Saturday, Baton Rouge Police Headquarters has a permanent drop box in the lobby.
Oh, it's that little kiosk in the lobby. Yeah.
It's it looks like a little mailbox.
Right.
Mailbox. 24/7. You can drop your unused, unwanted, expired prescription medications in that box. We have some personnel that go empty that and dispose of it the proper way, and no worries.
Naturally, we all think of like the opioids first and foremost with this because that's what's leading people to addiction and eventually killing folks out there. But there are so many other dangers, especially when it comes to just getting something out of your house that maybe someone younger doesn't recognize what it is. You might not know what all the technical names are of the different prescriptions and take something that could be very detrimental to your health without it being any kind of opioid or painkiller or anything like that.
Exactly, and this is why we partner with the DEA to put these on. And again, not only taking something, but the disposing.
Mm-hmm.
Because some people, well, I'll just flush it down the toilet and get, well, that's not the proper way to do it because of a long list of reasons that go along with that. So twice a year, they put these events on. Baton Rouge Police Headquarters took it one step farther by having a permanent drop box. So anytime during the year, if you can't wait for this event or you're unable to make it to these events, Baton Rouge Police Headquarters, 9000 Airline Highway, drop off that unused, unwanted, or expired prescription medications.
10 a.m. to 2 p.m. this Saturday. You can literally drive through on your way to go tailgate for Garth Brooks. He's Don Coppola. We do Crimestoppers every single Saturday. Here's your money now.
Thank you so much. I was watching traffic and knew where I was like, but
it's all good. It's all good.
9:30. We're so good for 9:30 with
Dylan. Yeah.
So are we on or
you can kill the mics.
On Wall Street, teachers are hired. That's your money now.
perfect health? Don't worry.
SelectQuote found Tanya, 40, who has type 2 diabetes, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $32 a month.
We shop companies like Protective, Prudential, American General, and others to find you the company with the best rates. Give your family the security they need at a price you can afford. For your free quote, call 1-800-714-6633. That's 1-800-714-6633. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-714-6633. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policies at selectquote.com/commercials. Your premium could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
It's Chevy Truck Month, and Chevy offers a full lineup of trucks and accessories to help make it your own. Make your Silverado bolder with a sport bar and bed liner. Make your Colorado brighter with perimeter bed lighting. And make your Silverado HD more secure with a tonneau cover. Your Chevy dealer can help you find the right Chevy truck and accessories for you to make the most out of Truck Month. See your Super Chevy dealers today.
Call the Lucky Law Firm if you've been in a wreck in Baton Rouge or anywhere in Louisiana. It's easy to get help. Call 866-9-LUCKY-1. Get lucky today.
I'm attorney Robert Lucky. If you've been in a wreck or have suffered any personal injury, call 866-9-LUCKY-1 today.
Paid non-client announcer. Responsible attorneys Robert M. Lucky and Michael T. Malinowski Jr. Primary office in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. File number 2213183.
CCA Louisiana is committed to restoring and maintaining healthy coastal conditions for our local marine wildlife.
Okay.
All Louisianians can continue to enjoy the great outdoors for generations to come. With your support, we can preserve and protect our marine wildlife to be enjoyed by recreational
Yeah, but I don't know who. Like the whole segment, I don't.
for your shot at a brand new truck, boat, and other great prizes. Love Louisiana? Conserve our coast? Become a member today at ccalouisiana.com.
I'm Taylor Sharp in the Guarantee Media Traffic Center. Brought to you by Shaw Bills, where you can get up to $160 with the purchase of 4 eligible Firestone tires. Visit ShawBillsTire.com to learn more. Our busy morning in Baton Rouge continues as we have an accident that has the right lane blocked eastbound I-10 on the Mississippi River Bridge. We are experiencing some backups at this time. Also, an accident with injury, Florida Boulevard and Sharp Road. If you experience heavy backups in that area, you can use Sherwood Forest Boulevard or Cora Drive to get around that area. And we have another accident with injury, Airline Highway at Piku, that could cause some delays as well. As we check out our drive time, still some heavy volume on our interstate systems, a little over 30 minutes, Cuban to the 1012 split, and almost 30 minutes, Highland to the Mississippi River Bridge. That's the latest from the Guarantee Media Traffic Center, where reports are always brought to you by Shaw Bills. I'm Taylor Sharp reporting.
.754 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Have not yet had a chance to catch my breath. That's we went long in that segment talking about the potential human trafficking over at that Buddhist temple, the Tambao Temple off of Monterey, and then just knocked out Crimestoppers. Got the outside in coming your way in just a minute. I do have to tell you about the folks over at Complete Collision Center, and I don't have to tell you about them. I love telling you about them. They've got 2 locations. One's on Plank Road up in Zachary. The other is on Perkins, just east of Bluebonnet. You're going to find the same great level of service, knowledge, and expertise at both locations. Doug makes sure that his team is up to speed on the latest techniques to repair your vehicle. Make sure they know all the latest technologies. But at the heart of this is making sure your family gets back on the road safely. It's not about doing it quick. It's not about doing it cheap, although they have great turnaround time at either location. But it's about your family's safety. They've got the iCar Gold Class certification over at Complete Collision Center, which puts them in the top 15% of body shops nationwide. And that in and of itself is a game changer. If you get into an accident, it's important that your body shop know the difference between repair and replace. It's important that your body shop know how to find hidden damage and how to repair hidden damage. Learn more at CompleteCollision.com. Give them a call at 768-9898 should you find yourself in an accident. And don't let who you choose to repair your vehicle be your second accident. Check out CompleteCollision.com. Time for the outside in. Let's go.
Really explore space this time. I mean, really. Yeah. Explore the space.
The Outside In, presented by BRPT Lake, with 6 locations and extended hours to fit your needs. BRPT Lake has got you covered. Schedule online now at brptlake.com. The Outside In is coming your way now.
We gotta get out of this town. Yeah, and go where? Where are we gonna go?
Today we start off at St. Landry Parish, where a man and a 4-year-old girl were killed early Wednesday. 3 other children injured after a fight escalated. Gunfire erupted at an apartment complex, Wednesday. Opelousas Police Chief Martin McClendon told news outlets 46-year-old man died at the scene. Girl died in an area hospital. Their names have not yet been released, or at least not at the time that this was printed. They're still notifying the families. Along with this, McClendon said 3 other children were shot. One of those children, a 16-year-old, was grazed by a bullet while in a nearby home. The injury was described as minor. A 17-month-old girl is hospitalized with serious injuries. A 7-year-old boy is listed as stable. This shooting happened just before 1 a.m. Wednesday. In Ascension Parish, a sheriff's deputy was arrested Wednesday, charged with 20 counts of pornography involving a juvenile. This according to Sheriff Bobby Weber. The Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office said Deputy Brandon Morris was fired after he was arrested. Morris has been employed with the Sheriff's Office for 8 months. Quote, "We hold our deputies to high standards. No one's above the law when situations like this occur. It tarnishes our badge, violates community trust," Weber said in a statement. No bond has been set yet on this former deputy. Next stop, St. Tammany Parish. Police arrested 2 men after they allegedly exposed themselves in parking lots. 22-year-old Austin Sear turned himself into the sheriff's office on Wednesday after learning of the warrant for his arrest that was issued earlier this month. Sear allegedly began manipulating himself in his vehicle while watching a woman that had pulled into an adjacent parking lot. Thomas Beal, 37 years old, was arrested Tuesday evening in a separate incident after another woman called to report a naked man sitting in his vehicle and having a go at himself as well. Both men were booked into the St. Tammany Parish Correctional Center for obscenity. West Baton Rouge gets ready for Wild Baton Rouge gets ready for Garth Brooks, and New Orleans gets ready for Jazz Fest. The largest free international music festival has kicked off already in Lafayette after a 2-year absence. Organizers of Festival International are tuning in for record-breaking crowds that are expected. This year's festival features musical acts, crafts, food from all over the globe, and a new cashless payment system as well. Festival International normally attracts around 300,000 attendees over the 5-day period. Organizers are expecting to eclipse previous records in attendance this year. That is the Outside In. We are due up for a break. Going to check CBS News. Then when we come back, we've got This Day in History next on Talk 107.3 FM. Oh, hey, also, coming up next hour, National Crime Victims' Rights Week. It's going on, and we're talking about it next hour. Here comes CBS. Yeah. Byron says misappropriation of funds. Now we're getting somewhere. Yeah. Little Biggin says, has there been a criminal case with this, or is it just civil started because the burden of proof is lower to get action and change? Yeah, I think you posted that before I asked that follow-up question. We need Franz here. Biggin, thanks for the clarifying questions. Yeah, so when it comes to matters of the court, I make no bones about it. That's not my wheelhouse. Do the best that I can. I asked the questions that I had a number of them prepared beforehand, and as the story was being told, it changes. It changes midway through. So hopefully I did okay there. If not, there's room to bring them back, and I have no doubt they're going to come back on. Like, at the very least, Josh will come back on, and maybe one of the two girls that run the youth program over there. Babin, Babin. My whole thing about this is the mere accusation. If this were in the Catholic Church, there would not be a news outlet that didn't run with it as multiple headlines, op-eds, the whole works. If this were a Catholic Church, all you need is the accusation, and it would be blowing up right now. And to me, this is a bigger part of this as well. To me, the fact that you're dealing with people who don't speak English as a first language makes them that much more vulnerable, that much more scared to come forward. And if you talk about getting down that path of having a green card held over your head, hey, you speak up, you're going home. You cut me off, you're going home. You're going back. Like, there's a level of coercion and servitude that's involved with that. And I don't know where that crosses the line into illegality, but that's some scary-ass ish. Troy says not masters of their domain. Bro, I don't even claim St. Tammany anymore. I'm going to assume that they were Slidell. Friggin' sheriff's deputy going all bad lieutenant. Remember Bad Lieutenant with Harvey Keitel? Okay.
Another chilly start today. Temperatures will climb fast into the low 80s this afternoon with sunny skies and comfortable humidity. Tonight temperatures will fall to near 60 degrees. Friday will be warm with temperatures climbing into the mid-80s and overnight temperatures a touch warmer in the mid-60s. Saturday is looking a bit more humid with temperatures in the mid-80s and a stray shower possible in the afternoon. A few showers will be possible each day heading into next
32 times. No, it is exactly 32 times. No, I think they'll do it tomorrow as well, but you're only going to hear that 32 times today. It's only when a pick comes in. Oh! 806 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 3 coming your way right now. Brian here with you, Jake producing. We're going to talk Relay for Life later on this hour. We're going to talk about the National Crime Victims' Rights Week with Caitlin Babin from the DA's office later this hour. And we got a couple of other topics to dive into. Hey, we started off the third hour with this day in history, and we're going to get into that in a minute, but it's been blow and go since having our guests on, Josh Anderson and the two young ladies that run the youth group over at the Tambao Temple off of Monterey. Admittedly, not investigative reporting is not my wheelhouse. Admittedly, that is an area where I'm going to ask the questions that probably delve more into the emotional quotient than anything else. But there's a lot left to be unpacked from that segment. And I'm already looking forward to having Josh and anybody else from that temple that he wants to bring on to come on. Because when you start talking about coercion and servitude and that blurring the line between a consensual relationship, like if you're holding a green card over someone's head, that it changes the game. And I don't know where. I don't know how. I don't have enough legal wherewithal to know the level of criminality. I guarantee you, me and Franz are going to be talking about this on our next installment of Legally Served, to be sure. I don't know where things cross over into illegal, but learning that a Buddhist monk does take a vow of celibacy is a big one. Learning that this woman, according to their story, got pregnant, was forced to have an abortion, and then was shipped back to Vietnam afterwards. And I am going to want to hear from the other side on this as well, to get that side of the story from other, for lack of a better term, congregants. And again, my apologies. I'm Catholic. I know Catholic terminology, so I'm going to use Catholic terminology. But yeah, it's what does the rest of the attendees, the congregants, I'm sure they're not called parishioners. What's their take as well? So we'll continue that discussion as it moves forward. This day in history coming up in 60 seconds. Got to remind you about the folks over at Mathern's. If you're heading out towards campus this weekend, which numbers suggest you will be, whether that be baseball, softball, the track meet, or the Garth Brooks concert, if you don't want to be too weighted down when you leave the house, Mathern's is here for you when you get on campus. They're your tailgating headquarters throughout football season, basketball season, baseball season, and country music season. Before Garth Brooks hits the stage, if you want to make your way through campus without having to carry the cooler, carry all the food trays and whatnot, just swing on by Mathern's. Grab a bite to eat while you're there. Grab a couple beers while you're there. Their craft beer selection I would put up against anybody's in town. You know where to find them. They're in the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center, right across the street from Tiger Stadium, the corner of Nicholson and Skip Burtman Drive. Yes, they're on campus. No, they're not just for students. And oh, by the way, every other day of the week, they are a full-service grocery store. But before you see Garth Brooks, swing on by Mathern's. Here comes This Day in History. I was going to make a joke about a Garth Brooks song and tie it back into Mathern's, and then just sat there with the bat on my shoulder the whole time.
Struck out?
Yeah, could not come up with the appropriate song to tie into a Mathern's spot.
Well, it is time for This Day in History, so let's talk about it. 1881, Billy the Kid escapes from the Lincoln County Jail in Lincoln, New Mexico.
All right.
1937, the first commercial flight across the Pacific, operated by Pan Am. And in 1967, Muhammad Ali refuses induction into the Army and is stripped of boxing title.
Maybe swing by Mathern's, grab some beers for your friends in low places.
There you go.
Got it? That'll get it? That'll get it?
I think that gets my seal of approval.
Yeah, all right.
1988, Aloha Airlines Boeing 737 roof tears off in the flight, and it kills the stewardess.
Oh, my.
That's horrifying.
Yeah.
I read that, and I had to do a double take, because that just sounds like a nightmare, to put it lightly. 1994, Aldrich Ames, former CIA officer, and his wife Rosario plead guilty to spying for the Soviet Union and Russia.
The beer selection over at Mathern's. Long neck bottle. Let go of my hand.
2004, Shrek the Sheep from Tara Central, Otago, New Zealand, is finally shorn live on TV after 6 years of avoidance. The fleece weighed 27 kilograms, which was 60 pounds of fleece.
Gross.
Yeah.
Ick.
He must have been moving a whole lot lighter after that.
Yeah.
Next two things we got to talk about, it's the draft. 2007, LSU quarterback Jamarcus Russell was the first pick by the Oakland Raiders. How'd that go?
No. Look, if LSU were in Kanto, Bruno would be Jamarcus.
Ooh, we do not talk
We do
about
not
Bruno.
talk about Jamarcus.
We do not talk
We do
about
not
Bruno.
talk about Jamarcus.
And
Although now we don't talk about Ben Simmons either. Wow. Way to out D-bag somebody.
Yeah. 2011.
I mean,
NFL
Jamarcus
draft.
just got fat and had no help, right? He had no surrounding supporting cast. You can make that argument.
Yeah.
Ben Simmons is like actively avoiding playing. Way to represent as the number 1 overall pick. You slap.
2011 NFL Draft. Auburn quarterback Cam Newton was the first pick by the Carolina Panthers. How'd that go?
Not bad.
That's
I mean, he posted up some wins, got himself an MVP.
Yeah, not too
You
shabby.
know.
And in 2016, California quarterback Jared Goff was the first pick by the Los Angeles
How'd that
Rams.
go?
Yeah, how did that go? They traded him and a war chest of draft assets to finally win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, they weren't going to, as long as Goff was their quarterback, they were going to be standing outside the fire. Boom, another Garth Brooks reference.
There you go. 2018, Danny DeVito Day, declared in Jersey for the 17th of November by Mayor John Moore of Asbury Park.
Why?
Because every day is Danny DeVito Day, but we had to segment it down to one, and you know.
But why New Jersey? Is that where he's from?
I think so. I mean, it makes sense.
He's a star of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah, he also played the Penguin.
Yeah. Taxi was in New York, not New Jersey.
I mean, it's also just Danny DeVito. Can't go wrong with him.
All right.
And in 2019, the TV series Game of Thrones, the Long Night episode debuts with the longest battle ever screened, which was nearly 80 minutes, surpassing Lord of the Rings' Battle of Helm's Deep, which was only 44 minutes. Wouldn't know because it was so freaking dark the whole episode, you couldn't even tell.
What is this? The
Game of Thrones Long Night episode. It was season.
It was one of. I only saw 3 episodes of that show, and that was one of them.
Well,
it was enjoyable.
I mean, yeah, it's popcorn worthy for sure, but like, you couldn't see half of it.
Hey, grab your tailgating items from a Thurns. You don't want to show up empty-handed and shameless.
Oh my god.
Appreciate the contribution. My buddy Mark texted me that one. I had to share it.
2020, U.S. Department of Defense releases 3 declassified videos of possible UFOs from 2004 to
Yeah,
2015.
buddy. Uh-huh.
I mean, we all kind of knew.
You keep telling me I'm crazy. It's fine.
We all kind of knew, but like, you know, them actually confirming it, and that was crazy.
Yep.
Let's get to the birthdays. Jessica Alba turns 41. Penelope Cruz is 48, and Jay Leno is 72.
Those were the only 3 I had. You know the email that I get every day with all the headlines and sound bites and then the list of this day in history and birthdays?
Yes.
They skipped this day in history and birthdays. It was just the sound bites.
Huh.
I know. I was like, what the? Guys, you have 1 job. Well, technically I have 2 jobs.
Eh.
But
50%. Come on now.
dude, no good.
You're slacking out right here.
No bueno.
Let's talk about the deaths. Benito Mussolini passed on this day in 1945.
Yeah, he did.
And Michael Collins.
Setting the tone for his buddy Adolf, right?
Ugh. And Michael. Oh my God. Sorry, I just thought about that a little.
Well, Benito Mussolini ain't going down till the sun comes up.
Oh my God. And finally, astronaut Michael Collins passed on this day in 2021. May he
Yeah, I
rest
remember
in
that one.
peace. Let's get to the holidays. It's Take Our Kids to Work Day. I don't have kids, so I couldn't really do that. National Superhero Day.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, it is National Blueberry Pie Day. That is this day in history.
All right, quick break. When we come back, it's National Crime Victims' Rights Week. We're going to talk with Caitlin Babin next. I assume you're Caitlin? Oh. Come on in. I got some very cursory talking points from Sarah, so hopefully you can fill the whole segment because I got little. 12 minutes, yeah, we'll be good. All right, what is your title? I don't know why I opened the door for everyone to text me their Garth Brooks puns. I knew this was going to happen. Oh, we're doing it all day tomorrow. Well, you're not going to be here. Yeah. 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 Looking forward to it. Right. Sorry, I'm looking for Sarah's text.
And just a heads up, we're always going to be on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Camera's right here. Don't worry.
You mean to look at that? I'm supposed to look at the camera?
No, we'll have a conversation. We'll be talking. So.
But like, in case you're saying
I was told last night at like 9 p.m. that I was going to be.
Really?
Well, she told me last week, but then I was going to do it Monday, and then last night she said, "Oh, by the way, it's like on Facebook or something live," and I was like, "But it's just radio."
YouTube, and yes. Yep. Did Taylor just mispronounce his own name?
I wish you know what? I'm going to Sterling's right now, and I'm going to double check.
I'm pretty sure he said Taylor. Oh, okay. Gotcha. And you do work in the DA's office,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Okay.
This is like live.
Yes.
If you want to move the mic a little closer to you.
Yeah. Eight 18. Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Hour 3 in mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. So this is National Crime Victims' Rights Week. Joining us now to talk about that from the District Attorney's Office, their Victims Assistance Coordinator, Caitlin Babin. Caitlin, welcome to Talk 107.3. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing very well. Let's get you right up on that one. For some reason, this mic is so much louder, and they give the loudest mic to the loudest person, and I don't understand why. It's like we should swap. So National Crime Victims' Rights Week. What does this entail? Before we get to the local, what does it entail overall? What got this thing started?
So it is a national week. It
Oh,
is a
good. You're
national
good.
week. Basically, it is set to, and like specifically the theme this year is rights, access, and equity for all victims. So it's just a week to recognize all of the rights of victims and to make sure that those rights are being served and they're given those rights and they get justice for their crimes that are committed.
What defines a victim here? Is this a particular type of crime we're talking about, or is this a little more overall?
It's overall.
Mhm.
Yeah, anybody who was a victim of a crime.
Okay, because victims' rights, they would tend to take on different meanings based off of the crime, I would think.
Absolutely.
So we're covering a lot of ground here. How is the DA's office involved with this? What do y'all do?
So we have a week-long kind of celebration of different activities. Earlier this week, we had what we call Diesel Day. It's our support dog. We just recognized him. He's able to go to court sometimes with victims. And then today we are doing our basket giveaway.
Okay.
Tomorrow we have a dedication of our vac room, and then Saturday is our annual picnic.
All right, let's start with the basket giveaway. What are we talking about here? Is this like a raffle? Is this like prizes given out, or is this something that goes to everyone?
So each section in our office participates, and they make I say basket, but usually they're very large.
Okay.
And it's a little friendly competition, but amongst the office. But ultimately, they are raffled off at the picnic to victims of crime who come and attend.
And the picnic is when?
Saturday.
Oh, there's not enough going on Saturday, I swear. Oh, my word.
It's Saturday morning. So
Okay,
kind of
fair enough.
before all the crazy stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. There's an art piece involved in this?
Yes, we had a senior from Liberty Magnet, Michaela Buenafane. She painted a picture that is displayed in our lobby in City Hall. She was just inspired to do this because inspired to paint it for all victims of crime, and so it's displayed out in our lobby.
Picnic's coming up Saturday. We're going to get to the picnic in just a minute, but I want to talk about the room dedication first. You had mentioned a room is being dedicated somewhere, I assume within your office?
Yes, sir. It's going to be a room in City Hall. Currently, it's just our back rooms, our victim assistance coordinator room. We can have meetings there. We have our personal meetings there. It's a nice place where kids can go. It's a comfortable area for victims to sit while they wait. We had a coworker who passed away last fall, one of our victim advocates. She passed away, and so we're going to be dedicating the room in her honor. Her family's going to attend. We're going to have a little memorial service, a celebration of her life on Friday, and it's going to be named the Brittany Michelle Davis Room.
The Brittany Michelle Davis Room. Tell me a little bit about Brittany Michelle Davis. I can see you're going to get emotional right off the bat, and I'm seeing that. So I want to kind of walk down the path a little bit about the kind of impact that people can have on victims' lives and the selflessness that goes into the job.
Yeah, absolutely. And Brittany was probably the most selfless person you could ever meet. She was always there to, not even just her coworkers. She was always there to ask, how are you doing today? How's your family? Are you feeling okay? Tell me what's going on. Just there to lend an ear if you needed it as a coworker. But also she had that same attitude with every victim she had, everybody who ran across her. She was truly an asset to our office, and we really miss her.
Victims Assistance Coordinator. If victims cover a lot of ground, then assistance is going to have to cover a lot of ground. What does your job entail? What do you see the most of?
Crime-wise or day-to-day?
Victims-wise, the day-to-day, your interaction with victims, where does that I'm sure you're going to hear similar stories based off of the type of crime and whatnot. What are some of the more frequent ones you hear?
Unfortunately, in this day and age, we're meeting with family members of deceased victims who were murdered. That's unfortunately one of the ones that is just uprising here in Baton Rouge now. But we work with victims of all sorts of crimes. We work with families of homicide victims. We work with victims of sex crimes. We work with victims of theft, contractor fraud, armed robbery, everything imaginable.
I mean, you get to deal with the repercussions of the worst of it.
Yeah.
I would imagine the guarding yourself on a daily basis just emotionally would be a difficult thing. Some of the stories you hear along the way, though, I want to make sure I'm asking this in the right way. Your job is victims assistance coordination, not retrieving evidence or getting people to talk. But do those lines get blurred from time to time?
Absolutely, because victims and witnesses are sometimes the same people. And so we do meet with victims who are also witnesses to talk about what happened. We do have investigators who help, locate the people if we're needing to find somebody, but definitely a victim and a witness can be the same person, and so we oftentimes meet with them, hear their story, or even just a witness who saw the crime happen. So we're constantly meeting with both of those people.
How much of that role plays into it to be supportive without being probing, but not ignore what would have been probed otherwise?
Yeah. It's hard.
I bet.
We want to make sure that the victims get justice, in whatever way that is for them. Some people, justice means completely different things. So, we have to meet with them and kind of find out what that means to them, while also making sure the community stays safe from this person, from this offender, and that they're not going to reoffend. So it's just kind of a line of what's best for everybody.
Picnic's coming up Saturday. You said it's going to be in the morning, so it's not going to conflict with Garth Brooks or anything else that, because you got baseball, you got softball, there's a track meet, there's all kinds of stuff going on.
Busy day.
So, what time and where?
So it's going to be 10 to 1 at the Gus Young Breck Park.
Gus Young Breck Park. And who's invited to this picnic?
Anybody who is a victim of crime. We personally reach out to a lot of our victims who we talk to on a regular basis from the office. But anyone who has experienced crime, has lost a family member due to violent crime, everybody like that is invited.
This is So you're talking about bringing together basically as widespread as the term victim would be. That's pulling everybody together on Saturday for a picnic. What's the theme here? What's the motivation? What do y'all hope to get out of the picnic?
It's really just a day to recognize what they've been through. You know, it's a day to support them, give back to the community, and show them that, you know, we are here, we care, you know, and they do have rights as victims.
This is one of the areas of the district attorney's office that I don't think you're not going to be in the headlines very often. It's one of those ones that, from a supportive standpoint, is absolutely vital at the same time. So talk to me a little bit, and we got about 2.5 minutes left. The nature of the office, the role, and how y'all go about approaching how to help.
So we first, you know, kind of reach out to victims. Unfortunately, right now, some victims aren't wanting help. You know, they're not wanting to pursue charges and things like that. But for the victims who do want to help, you know, we provide them any services they need. If they need counseling, we help them get in counseling support groups. If they need to relocate, we help them find housing, help, you know, find agencies who can financially assist them with housing. Sometimes if they're needing to go, you know, have legal stuff going on, you know, there's attorneys, not from our office, but other resources that we can refer them to. So we do a lot of referring for services, but then we walk with them through the criminal process. It's not a quick process. You know, felony cases take multiple years. It's not, you know, something that happens tomorrow and will be finished by the end of this year. So we kind of walk with them through that process, sit with them in court, and we're just, you know, there to listen.
How lengthy is the interaction? Not just like, I'm not talking about like a sit down appointment or whatever, but over the course of time before, you know, they're comfortable again. Because I would imagine everything starts with either grief, anger, or betrayal. Mm-hmm. So from there, getting back to a sense of normalcy in their own lives.
It takes a while for most people, you know, and that's what we help with, you know, with counseling, because that's a really big resource. Everybody can benefit from some sort of therapy or counseling. But it's usually pretty easy that we can build a rapport with them at least, and then just kind of guide them through that process. But like I said, a lot of cases can take 1, 2, 3 years to be resolved. And so, but we're there with them every step of the way.
Does the resolution of the case bring the most closure along the way?
Typically, yeah. Even if, you know, even with homicide families, just being, although it doesn't bring your loved one back, just being done with the criminal process, and I think it brings some sort of closure.
How rough was the pandemic on this?
Very rough.
Yeah, I would
Very
bet.
rough.
I would bet. So the picnic's coming up Saturday. In the meanwhile, a number of other events going on as part of National Crime Victims' Rights Week. Caitlin Babin from the District Attorney's Office, thank you so much for stopping by today.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Yep, Saturday, 10 till 1 out at Gus Young Park. We've got to check news here in just a minute. I do need to make sure I've got enough time to tell you about the folks over at Go Slim Nutrition. You know where to find them. They're on Bluebonnet at Perkins, right there, right next door to Rouse's, actually. Same shopping center. You will find them there. And the countdown is on to summertime, y'all. The countdown is on to being poolside, beach season, and the like. Now, I don't want to play on the vanity card a whole lot, because really, when you're talking about Go Slim, you're talking about getting yourself healthier. Losing weight leads to a healthier lifestyle. Losing belly fat reduces your chances of heart disease, reduces your blood pressure, lowers your risk of diabetes. All these things happen when you lose weight, especially around the gut, especially for guys. Swing on by Bluebonnet at Perkins, GEAUX, slimbr.com, or call them at 763-9600. Look, if you start now, you can legitimately be down 20 pounds by the first day of summer. That's a reasonable goal at Go Slim Nutrition. Here comes CBS News. I put way too much emphasis on my preparation for the human trafficking interview, and I am all over the damn place since then. What? Mm-hmm. You hear that? Republicans are out in front on getting rid of corporal punishment in schools. Friggin' love that. Me and Matt Kennedy used to argue about that ad nauseum. That's what's wrong with kids today. They don't get the spankings in the school. I'm like, that is counterintuitive to a conservative mindset. Because the same mindset that's in Florida right now that wants parental rights, you should be fighting for parental rights here as well. Schools are not here to raise our children. Schools are here to teach our children. You need discipline? You call me. I'm the dad. Friggin' love that take. That's where I'm at as well. It's my job to hit my child. Should I choose? We catch a lot of hell because we don't spank in our house. But our kids are very well behaved because they understand repercussions. Discipline does not mean just spanking. It can mean a myriad of things.
Download the all-new Talk 1073 mobile app, brought to you by Gregory Ricks and Associates. Listen live, find out what you missed on demand, and even set an alarm to wake up and listen. The Talk 1073 mobile app is brought to you by Gregory Ricks and Associates.
How do you choose the right attorney? I give you the answers at murphylawfirm.com. Don't allow insurance companies to take advantage of you. Make the right decision. Don't leave money on the table. Visit murphylawfirm.com or call me, attorney Peyton Murphy, at 928-8800. Main office, Babin Rouge.
Ever wonder how Premier South Roofing and Sheet Metal does such a great job installing metal roofs? It's simple. Premier South makes all their metal panels on site, so they fit perfect and without any visible screws. Many of our roofs are still in Grand Isle from before the storm. Don't get stuck with a contractor. They won't be here when you need them. Call somebody you trust. Go to premiersouthla.com for premier craftsmanship and premier customer service. Premier South Roofing and Sheet Metal.
Hi, I'm Flo from Progressive. Being a baseball fanatic like me can be stressful. It's not all sports points and touchdowns. So Progressive is going to help you take your mind off your team for a moment. Instead of thinking about how they missed that goal point score, think about the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, letting you choose coverage options based on your budget. Unlike your team that missed the end zone net area. Well, anyway, hope this distraction about Progressive's Name Your Price tool was helpful. It sure kept me from thinking about all those penalty balls. Yay, sports!
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company in Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Sure, we have 30 seconds to tell you that drivers who switch to Progressive could save big.
I'm hoping this person has the hotline number. Yeah.
I can't tell if this is funny. Maybe this is so bad it's funny. Wow, we really peaked at the save big when you switched to Progressive part. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Bet with a winner on Bet Rivers Online Sportsbook. Download the app today.
Hey everybody, Jay Ducote here from the Jay Ducote Show, 4 to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday on Talk 1073. Join us for your happy hour drive home right here on the new Era Talk.
837 Talk 1073 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Grabbing a look at that forecast for the weekend as well. Let's start with today. We got a high of 83 and an overnight low of 56. Yeah, it's been nice and cool leaving the house in the morning, and that's a good thing. Tomorrow, high of 85 with a low of 62. Now, earlier in the week when you were looking at the forecast, there was about a 35% chance of rain on Saturday. So, would the thunder roll as Garth Brooks rolls into Tiger Stadium? Yes, got another song reference in. As it's looking right now, not so much. We're now down to a 12% chance of rain on Saturday. However, the chance of rain on Sunday has beefed up to about 45%. Scales back from Monday and Tuesday as well, as it'll be about 25% both of those days. Your high on Saturday going to be 88 degrees, overnight low 66. I'm trying to scroll through to see where we're going to be at as we get around to concert time in particular. Because I'm thinking about in terms of, like, if you're going to talk about a concert in Tiger Stadium, you're going to talk about Bayou Country Superfest as the only comp, right? That's the only way we can make the connection. Well, Bayou Country Superfest was always Memorial Day weekend. So if you were a regular for that, you can expect it to be cooler for this. I mean, a little bit. It's the end of April instead of the end of May. So looking ahead to Saturday, if you're out tailgating a little bit, we're going to be at about 86 degrees at 4 p.m. Showtime probably closer to 80. And then as the sun goes down, and we ain't going down until the sun comes up, as the sun goes down, it's going to be in the 70s with a light breeze rolling through. So, yeah, and no significant chance of rain until we get around to, I guess, early Sunday morning and then Sunday afternoon. And even then, it's like 2 p.m., 3 p.m. is a 50-50 shot at rain. But that's, like I said, 4 days out. So who knows once it gets here. But looking like all systems go for Garth Brooks as far as the weather's concerned. Right now, we are at 67 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Going to be talking with the folks from Relay for Life here in just a minute. I do need to remind you, Baton Rouge Police going to have their community walk and talk this afternoon in the Zion City community. Meeting at the Cadillac Discount Grocery. That's 5407 Cadillac Street. Meeting up for 3 p.m. The Baton Rouge citizens and community leaders are invited to attend. BRPD kind of heads this thing up. This is one of the things we've talked about that went away for a little while because of COVID, and you lose those relationships, and the bad guys don't. You lose that networking with the community, and the bad guys don't. This is one of those things that you're never going to be able to point to one event over another to say, hey, this was the turning point for crime in Baton Rouge. But cumulatively, it all helps. So 3 p.m., community walk and talk at the Cadillac Discount Grocery. All right. Also coming up, Relay for Life is on the way in very short order. Joining us now to talk about that is Brian Janis. Brian, welcome aboard. How are you, man?
I am well, and you? Thanks for having me.
No, glad to have you on here. Always glad to be talking about Relay for Life. Give us the details, the when, the where.
So the event is this Saturday at Cabela's in Gonzales, and it will be from 3 o'clock until 11 o'clock.
3 p.m. to 11 p.m. because not enough is going on this Saturday. Heading out to Cabela's for Relay for Life. Let's tell the Relay for Life story. Let's talk a little bit about what it is and why you do it.
So the Relay for Life, it began quite actually a while back in 1985. A doctor in Washington State did this to raise funds and awareness to for cancer patients and research into cancer treatments. And Ascension Parish actually has been, it started several years later. It's been doing this for quite a while. I've actually been involved in the relay in Ascension Parish probably just over 20 years now. We have a great group of people that come out and just want to support the community, support the people in our community that had to struggle with this. It affects not just the person, but the family and the support of the family. And it just means a lot to see people come out and want to help us raise funds and raise awareness for such a terrible thing as cancer, you know?
Yeah, you talk about the family, and yes, there's so many different forms of cancer out there, and so many of us, especially here in South Louisiana, that are affected by it. You talk about the family, and I think that's an overlooked part of the equation throughout, because while the cancer survivor is going through their battle, the family's going through a separate but equally tough battle as well.
Yes, they are, and part of the event is also to celebrate, to support people that are involved in the loved ones that are suffering from this, and we want to make sure that they are getting the support that they need to get as well to help in such a tough time. It affects everybody, everyone's family and extended family in multiple ways, so it's very good.
No, absolutely it is, and this is something that, like I said, with all the different types of cancer out there, you can't throw a rock without finding somebody within your circle that hasn't been affected either through themselves or a family member. Walk us through the race itself. Walk us through the Relay for Life itself. What's the event like as folks show up?
So as folks show up, what they'll see is the teams that come out. They'll set up their booths, their tents, and they'll set up games for the kids and others to play. We'll have food. There's lots of drawings, booth games, and then there's a couple of events as well. So we'll kick off the event, and then there's a luminary celebration, and that's really a moment, a reflective moment, to really kind of put the spotlight on those that are dealing with this or have dealt with it in the past to one extent or another. And it's just a very touching, moving moment that we have that kind of, brings it to life and just allows everybody to take a moment and recognize it,
Talking Relay for Life with Brian Janis. Brian, I don't know if you'd mind getting personal here for a second, but most of the time that folks get involved with something like this, they have a personal connection. What brought you into Relay for Life?
Well, quite actually, a family member. Cancer was in my family. I have a little sister that had cancer. Actually, had to battle that twice in her life. It's not an easy thing to do, and you see it and you want to help, and that kind of is what draws you into this. I've had two sisters actually that have had to deal with cancer. Breast cancer is a very prevalent thing in our area, and one of my sisters had to deal with that, and just friends and coworkers and all the people that you kind of come across in your life. Like you said, you can't throw a rock without hitting someone who's either dealing with it or has dealt with it.
Oh, so, 1,000%.
Yeah. Just wanting to be a part of a group that is really, in my belief, really out there trying to do something good to help people out at such a terrible time.
No, absolutely, and it's like you mentioned, breast cancer. The services for breast cancer and the support network for breast cancer very prevalent in Baton Rouge, to be sure. But there's just so many that are under the radar that don't get the attention they deserve, and they have the same kind of toll on victims or on those who are diagnosed and the families around them. So an all-encompassing event like Relay for Life is so great because the folks can know that support is out there, treatment is out there, help is out there, and it all comes together under one event.
Yeah, that's right. Not just that, but there's information out there. There are people that can help give you the information that you need to kind of understand the process, to kind of understand where the help is, to understand where the support is. And that's also very beneficial for people to come out for the first time and get some answers to some questions, because ultimately the first thing that you have when you hear this is, 1,000 questions. And there's just sometimes nowhere to look for those answers.
Oh, completely. All right, two more before I get you out of here, and I greatly appreciate your time this morning. Number one is events like this don't happen without great partnerships. This is going on at Cabela's. I assume they have an active role.
Cabela's has generously over the years offered us their parking lot to set up the entire event out there. They allow us meeting space there in the building if we need it during the month leading up to the event. They've been very helpful and supportive in helping us with just some of the smaller details that you don't see as you're working the logistics of an event. And so they've been a big help to us as well. I don't have a list of all of the sponsors. I'm more on the logistical side of setting it up. But we do have a lot of community support from businesses around that also come out and to be a part of the event. So,
oftentimes events like this, they evolve or devolve into competitions. I'm looking at the website right now, Brian. It's looking like you're just on you're tied for fifth in the donations. Do you have some last minute surprises involved to bump you up the rankings?
Well, I've got a ace in the hole. We have a golf tournament that usually we have by this time, but with the events of the last couple of years, we've moved it back, and so that'll help to bring me up. What I'll do at the event is I'm going to support the others to bring them up on that list as much as I can.
Fair enough. And last one before I get you out of here, you mentioned the golf tournament pushed back, everything pushed back or just straight up canceled over the last 2 years because of COVID. when it comes to an event like this and you're dealing with people that are likely immunocompromised that you're trying to help, you don't want to do more harm than good by having them out. How important is it that y'all are getting back together now in the wake of this pandemic?
Well, I think it's very important, and anyone that's coming out that may be compromised, we would definitely encourage that they wear a mask and that they have some separation, and we have an area for them to sit and want to help them out with that. But we want the community to come out when they can, because we need to get back into this phase of our community where we are a community, where we're actually out helping each other, doing these kinds of things together. Getting away from that, it really kind of changes us in some sense. And we really had a small event last year. We're a little bit bigger this year. We're really looking to get the event back up to where it was. And hopefully, over time of getting beyond COVID, I think we can do that. So.
And hoping to raise $100,000 for the American Cancer Society along the way. About halfway to the goal, as we're still 2 days out. So there's time to close it up and get it done. He is Brian Janis. I thank you so much. Relay for Life happening this Saturday afternoon out at Cabela's and Gonzales. Appreciate your time, Brian.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's how many times are we going to run into it? We went from we're so glad events are back to, oh my word, there's too many events that are back. This one is definitely worthwhile, though. If you are not going to be in Tiger Stadium, then maybe hit up Relay for Life. Or if you are going to be in Tiger Stadium, maybe check out their website. Actually, start with their Facebook page, Relay for Life Ascension's Facebook page, and you can make your donation from there. They are on their way to a goal of $100,000. Right now, they stand at $45,180. Obviously, a lot of that rolls in on the day of the race. All right, quick break. Close out the show next on Talk 107.3. Oh, that one I was actually very well versed on. Fortunately, I knew a little something about it. I've worked with the Relay for Life in the past. I'm untucking my shirt. Very unprofessional. Very unprofessional. So, I gotta give Franz a little love real quick. Yeah. No, I know. Franz is meticulous with his swag, with the Go Rouge swag, and like he walks in with like a Columbia fleece or a North Face fleece or whatever. Like, bro, spare no expense, right? In my office right now, I've got a hat from the brand, a hat, and now I've got the Patty G Show hat. I got a hat from Kevin's show. I got a hat from like everything under the sun. I got a ball cap for everything. But I could tell you I have a knit cap from Go Rouge or from the Borghardt Law Firm that I wear anytime the temperature's below 50. Especially with, I'm now 2 years into this haircut. Not this particular, but this look. Yeah. My hair used to be longer before the pandemic. Earlier this week was the 2-year anniversary of me letting my kids cut my hair.
Oh, wow. They cut your hair?
When we were all under lockdown, none of the stylists were open. Yeah. I couldn't go to Glamour Cuts over there on Jefferson. And I bought the clippers and let them have a go at it. And it was hella fun.
I bet that was.
And I've been keeping it tight ever since. Like every 2 weeks. I'll probably cut it tonight. But with that, the head gets colder when it gets cold outside. You don't have I don't have that flowing mane to keep in the warmth. Yeah. So, yeah, knit cap, game changer. Absolute game changer. Ball caps. I need to get back into wearing ball caps. I don't look bad in a ball cap.
Like I said
especially
before,
now that I've lost the weight.
Like I said before, I think I look like a tool wearing a hat.
Well, because you keep putting it on backwards.
Yeah, but if I put it like this,
that looks normal to me.
I know, I just don't.
You look a little more redneck.
Yeah.
You do. Like,
Here, I'll put the video on
yeah.
so people at YouTube can see. Yeah.
There's a good bit of redneckery going on with you there.
Take the glasses off, too. Now I look like this is my 9 to 5, as they say.
Interestingly enough, you look less redneck without the glasses. That's strange.
Now I can see. There are a lot of ways to wear a hat. Only a few of them are right.
I need to redo this spot. Yeah. Yeah, because it's about Winn-Dixie closing. Winn-Dixie closed a couple months ago. It's time to re-up it.
Gotcha, so it's out of date. It'd be like that, though.
Oh, I'm pleased with the way this one came out. The 5K giveaway?
I like the music in the background. Just like some
Generic beds, yes.
Just easy house. Just can't go wrong with it.
Yep. Oh, crap. Did I not print that page? I'm telling you, I put way too much emphasis into one segment today. I mean, the rest of the show wasn't bad. There's been 3 segments I haven't been fully prepared for. Nope, I didn't print it. I've got it in my email. I'm a product of 2 teachers. They saved up their frustrations with no hitting their students for when they got home, but nothing extreme. That's funny. Now, I wasn't spanked regularly as a kid. I'm not saying it never happened, but it wasn't a standard practice. So, like everything is anecdotal, right? There's no, you can't do this scientifically to know what works better. I'm tempted to bail on this topic to talk about the corporal punishment. No, we're doing it. .856 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. One segment to go. My thanks to everybody who was on board today, especially that 7:15 segment with Josh Anderson, Amber Lorio, and a few members of the Buddhist temple off of Monterey. I mean, unbelievable that they came in to tell their story, and that story's not done being told. We ran out of time for the segment for sure, but I will go back to it again. If you missed it, go check it out on our YouTube page. Mornings with Brian Haldane on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe while you're there. But this is one that is, the layers of the onion are going to be peeled back in due time. And when those layers of the onion are peeled back, the story is going to get nasty. It involves a Buddhist monk, potential human trafficking, and a member of that temple who got pregnant, had an abortion, and then shipped back to Vietnam and in short order after that. Before we get out of here today, one more story I do want to touch on, and we've got video. Louisiana has our first rural broadband service offered up by an electric cooperative was approved by the Public Service Commission yesterday. The folks at Hometown Productions were there to capture the video. Here is Public Service Commissioner Lambert Boissier talking about it.
One of the major things that I think we did here today was that we allowed one of the co-ops to do something we hadn't done before, which is allow a rural co-op, a rural energy company in a very rural country part of the state to offer broadband where no broadband or internet existed. which is going to bring in thousands of customers into broadband so that students can go to classes online if they have to. People can work online if they have to. Businesses can function more appropriately online through broadband as necessary in all other parts of the states. In addition to that, it allows our hospitals, our schools, and our businesses, and our even individuals in a home to have more broadband access in Louisiana. And that is so necessary, not only for normal course of business, but as you understand, on the COVID time and COVID restrictions, so many of us are forced to conduct our normal lives now online or on Zoom, whether we like it or not. It is part of the regular daily life. And so now the access to this service is now going to be available in the northeast part of Louisiana.
Northeast part of Louisiana as part of the co-op. We're going to explore this topic a lot more next week as it continues to grow. The takeover of broadband throughout Louisiana is going to be it's going to be a big story to follow, but it's also going to be an economic game changer, to say the least, and might not be the best of news for city centers. Might not be the best of news for places like Baton Rouge. As we do top stories and trending every day, and there's police blotter, to be sure. If you're offered all the same amenities, access, convenience in the sticks as you are within the city, what's the likelihood that you stick around in the city? There's going to be so much discussion to be had. Also, I want to dive into how does this topic cross over with what the state is doing as a whole in expanding broadband. But we'll have to get to all that later. Right now, we're just straight up out of time. Fox News Rundown's coming your way next. That'll be followed by Brian Kilmeade. I believe Dr. Oz is on with Kilmeade today, so stick around. All right, blah, 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 blah. So much I didn't get to today. I got half of tomorrow's show already done. Crap. Y'all, thank you so much for watching. If you weren't here at 7:15, please go back and watch that segment again. I said it during a break earlier, and I'll say it again right now. If that were a Catholic church, there would be no news outlet in Louisiana not carrying this story. The fact that it's such a smaller chunk of the population should not take away from the victims. The fact that the victims probably don't speak English as a first language makes it that much more difficult for them to communicate what's happened to them. Please go back and watch that segment and follow that story as it develops. We will see y'all tomorrow. Garth Brooks Countdown. Later on, y'all. Have a good day.